What's up, everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today, we're going to be looking at
check raised turns. And here's how we did this. This is my poker tracker database. So our filters are, we've chosen as our expression filter, checked, turned, and raised any turn. So we did those as separate things. Poker tracker put it together, save and apply. Then we add one other thing to this. We go to filters and we go add new expression filter. If we filter on the active player, then it would only be the hands that I'm in. So we want to see the hands that anybody played and did this. But as it turns out in my database, nobody is in check raised turns except for me. So I'm in every hand that this happens of. The first ones we're going to look at are going to be the biggest pots. So we'll do like the 6 biggest pots that happened, and then we'll go through just a bunch of them. So it's pretty obvious why this pot got so big. Let's just take a look at how this is played and how it should be played. It should fold, the jack should raise, the ace queens should 3-bet them, the ace kings should 4-bet them, I should 5-bet them, and then we'll see who folds. But that's not what happens because the turn gets check raised. That's interesting. Oh, the 10-8 raises. That's lovely. He gets re-raised. The ace queen folds.
Whoa.
6-person game. This is a little, in a 9-person game against the first two, the ace queen would fold. This seems a little tight. Not terribly tight. I haven't looked at it, but it seems tight. Ace king should now 4-bet him. He just calls. That's interesting. I should now 3-bet then. Yeah, raise, 3-bet. I should 4-bet, which I do. That's fine. The jacks don't get out of the way. Now the ace king does not jam. He just calls to get there. Ace or king on the flop, and that's what happens. There you go. Oh,
By the way, that was a correct fold by ace queen off.
Oh, good. Good to know. Even 3-handed. Okay, I'm going to lose everything on this one. That's nice. All right. Check. I can bet this. The jacks just call. The ace king doesn't fold. I shouldn't love it. I check. I do. I don't. I'm not trapping. I'm now scared.
Maybe you're not the one who check raises.
There's the bet. There's the raise.
There's the check
Now,
raise.
here's the question. Can I Joey this?
Yeah, good question. This is a tough one. How long ago was this?
Launch hand details. This was April of 2023.
I think, are we doing an over under? This is a binary decision. I bet $5 you fold.
I think based on the fact that it was March of last year, I'll take that. I'll take that action.
Okay.
Which
$5?
means, right, because here's why. Because if you bet that I folded and I bet that I call, oh no, I was going to hedge my bet because if I called, I lost more than $5, so that would reduce my thing. So yeah, I'm making my mistake. So if I call, I lost $200 on it, but now I will lose $205, but I'll still take that action. Yep. All right.
Oh my God, you $5.
So I called. Yeah. So I called. No. Oh, so this is good. No, I did hedge my bet. Good. I picked up that. There we go. And everybody's in. We don't get there, but I do get a few dollars back from villain 495. So that's good. That's good.
So, let's go over this and see for all of us. Let's see if any of us can get away here. Can you just go through the action again real quick?
Yeah.
So, okay, so
pre-flop.
well, how did you, okay, so pre-flop, you called for the correct size.
Mm-hmm.
You flat jacks. I don't even know if you're supposed to do that. This guy should shove, but he doesn't.
And the ace king shouldn't have done his initial. The ace king shouldn't have in GTO world done a call here.
Oh yeah, he should have. Yeah.
Larry, you said this guy should shove. What guy?
Ace king, but he
Oh,
shouldn't be
okay.
here anyway.
I thought you were talking about jacks, and I was like, I don't think that would be right.
What,
Yeah, ace king shouldn't have, you're right. Ace king should never have been in that spot, but now that he is, I think it's a shove, and it's
Yeah, I think it's
definitely
a shove
call.
free.
Right.
But it's so fucking deep. Yeah. Do you have room for a 5-bet here? I'm not sure.
I do. Well, let's say ace king just 4 bets to 25 here. out of position, goes to, anywhere, his out of position raise should be about, 2.5, 2.7. So 2.6 is gonna be
About,
20,
about 25,
yeah.
23,
Well,
22.
no, 3x would be 21.
Yeah.
So he would be about 18 here. He really wouldn't be,
Well, he's out of position though, right?
but out of position, I thought out of position was like 2.7x, not 3.5x.
I think, well, I think it's,
This is a 4-bet, not a 3-bet.
um, it's code 4, right?
Hold 4, yeah.
I think it should be a little bit bigger. I mean, we could check.
Yeah, take a look. Take a look on that. I think it's gonna be sort of 18, 20.
So it was UTG, hijack raises. Oh, you're right. It should be about 2x. It should, oh, no, no, it should be. It should be almost 3x. It should be 20.
Okay,
So
great.
let's say 21.
Goes 20. I 5-bet him to 40. Or all in, probably 40. And at that point, the jacks can fold. And they,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything good happens to me. So I don't blame my own play. I blame the ace king for this. Anyway, and then he gets all in when the king hits. So now we've got that check.
Okay,
I follow up my bet with a small bet. That's totally reasonable.
yeah.
When I get called in 2 places,
Alright, now any of our antennae should be going off.
yeah, it is. I'm not happy. I can be against ace king easily. That's fine. But I'm not
20.
checking the check raise here.
So this guy gets nervous about, well, he could do this, I guess, because of the SPR, but he's also probably,
SPR 1-to-1,
yeah,
plus the 2
Yeah.
flush draws.
he
So
could do this with the
yeah.
SPR.
then
But
when
then
these,
this happens, and then,
how do we get away from aces here?
so what's our thought process here? Our thought process is there are no bluffs, right? We're only beating value
Right?
unless it's a very, very stubborn ace, king of hearts.
No, ace king of hearts is value for them.
Yeah, unless it's ace, king of hearts. That's the only thing we're really ahead of here. Right?
We are have all the any ace king can play this way. We're
Yeah.
ahead of all ace kings that can play this way.
Yeah.
We are ahead of nothing else.
And we're holding to the aces.
Right. Does king, queen of hearts play this way? Does king,
Maybe king, queen of hearts plays this way.
yeah,
Maybe we don't fold here all the time, but we definitely need to be aware that we should be nervous.
yeah, oh yeah, I'm not happy. But I think this is also pre Joey land. But also it's an SPR of 1, Maybe there's that.
Yeah. The only reason I'm saying go over this is because I think it's important for us to kind of identify how often we're clearly ahead here and how often we're flipping and how often, what's our estimated equity here is what I'm saying. We should think about what our estimated equity is facing this kind of,
Action.
yeah, this kind of action. And I'm not sure I know the answer, but I think that it makes sense for us to think about it. And it's very hard to fold aces,
Right.
but I mean, I think, okay, so here's one thing, maybe. Is having the ace of spades important?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, having
Right.
the ace of spades is bad.
Yeah, it's bad. So, I mean, I'm just saying that in this situation, it makes sense to at least go into your time bank and think about what your choices are. Your choices
Okay.
are binary, but think about what your choices are. Think about what's going on. Think about ranges. It's
Okay, so
unusual. I wouldn't, if I were the jacks, I wouldn't have bet this big. He's nervous about the flush draw. I would have bet smaller because you've got another street. I wouldn't use this size if I was the jacks. He's either too nervous about the flush draws or he's undervaluing his hand, one of the two.
So I disagree, and I disagree because the pot is 122 big blinds already.
Okay,
He-
yeah, so
going
you
all
make,
in.
so
He's
you,
gonna-
yeah,
this is
you
a
have a good argument.
66% bet. Yeah.
But he meant, he gets to make this a 2 street game. I see your
Yeah.
point.
Now I'm hating my play I'm hating my play less now, and here's why. So
Mhm.
he bets, he raises, one of these guys has me beat. But 151 to win what will be 380.
So
And
your pot odds are 26%.
if they've got, right, and if they've got king jack, I have the ace and I have the 7 and I have the 5.
So what's that? 3, 6.
Two
Two.
aces, 3 and 3.
Okay.
And then you have you have the miracle when when one's a heart flush draw and the other's a spade flush draw. That's a miracle. So you're up against ace king of, so villain 495, who's not bluffing, has the ace king of hearts. And villain 492 has the queen 10 of spades. That's the
And also you can argue
only
it's
time
very
you're in.
hard for them. So maybe there's some king jack out here, but it's very hard for them to have 5s and 7s.
Yeah. But it's easy for them to have jacks.
But it's easy for them to have jacks.
It's hard for them to have kings.
And it's very hard for them to have kings that don't go in parade.
Yeah. Having said all that, yeah, I mean, it's just this. It's just that it's just that it's 111 to me.
So
In a
your
pot.
argument is good around pot odds, right? You're making a very good point about pot odds.
Yeah.
That, I mean, we could see them nicely in the replayer. So you have to only win this, what, 1 out of 4 times for it to be profitable?
No,
3 to 1.
1 out of 5 times to be profitable. 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, 1 out of
1
4,
out of 4.
1 out of 4 times to
2
be
to
profitable.
1,
Yes,
1 out of 4.
right.
Yeah, I see your point. You're a really good point about pot odds when you look
Mhm.
at it that way.
But maybe I get it right. But at least I won $5. I'll send you my Venmo handle later.
Yeah, send me.
Yeah,
I'll send it to,
happy
I'll
about
send you Venmo.
All right, here we go. Next hand is
You gotta give
Larry,
me a chance for double or nothing.
there you go. Larry, you're up.
Okay, 10 jack gets to, jack 10 gets to open this early. Ace 4 is on a broken, okay, this is gonna get weird. Ace 4 is, should ISO, but he's on a broken stack, so he might overlimp. He properly ISOs, king 9 should get out of it. So one thing that something that's talked about, which I think is a good play here, is that, he talks about using a size here that essentially puts the short stack all in. And I think his argument is that it's more likely to induce a fold, which you really want. So I like that idea. So I would go to 25 bigs here. This is fine. Well, I would go, I don't, yeah, I like just putting the guy in because he's already in anyway and you can't fold. And you'd rather go, hey, have this go heads up. I would use a bigger size.
Alright.
But, oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
What the hell? And this is a $1 game, kids. This is not,
100
this is
NL.
100 NL. This is not an old thing from the $5 game.
I think
this-
his size is too small anyway. I think really, I'm curious what you guys think. So when you've got an ISO like this to 5, I think we just do the full 4x.
Nah, I think it's fine. Both those stacks are are short. You don't need to.
That's a valid point. The stacks are short.
Okay.
Good point, Mike. Okay, so Jack 10 does not have implied odds to play here because he's a short stack.
Yep.
And he should fold.
Yep.
He doesn't care. Ace 4.
The only thing Jack 10 has going for him is that he is technically closing the action
Oh, because
because of the size. That's the only thing he has going for him. It's still a fold, but at least he
Yeah,
has,
you're right, because the 19 big blind stack cannot reopen the action.
right, he can jam and then he'll have to throw in another, 5 big blinds, but that's not the important thing.
So
Sorry, 8 big blinds,
you got a bunch of gamblers here. So ace queen cannot reopen the action, right?
right, yep.
So if you could reopen the action, you should probably just shove.
Yeah.
Because villain 102, I might be affected by seeing the hands, but villain 102 is, unless he's trapping, is a bit capped because he
Yeah.
did not raise again. So I would shove.
Mhm.
But both these guys are capped, but yeah, whatever. He's gonna go for it.
Yeah, I like 10 jack.
Could we go
calling.
look and see? Could go back one. I'm curious what his pot odds are here. 9%. Yeah, so I guess at this point you're playing.
Yeah, he should absolutely play.
So okay, so we
I mean,
go
he
to
should,
a flop.
this, I mean, we don't have to discuss how much of a mistake this is, but this mistake, I think this is a much better fold from the 10 jack, but having made that mistake, this is the right play. All
Well,
right,
so what's interesting here is that I think one lesson we could take from the Jack 10 is that, if we're choosing to make a flat here, we need to look and see if there's short stacks that can just shove
Mhm.
and are gonna commit us even more. We don't want to be committed.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got some big stacks here, but we've got a hammer lock. I think that we can do, if we're villain 101, we can do whatever we want. We are incentivized to go to the pot against villain 102, but it's very hard for villain 102. I guess he could have something here. He could, well, you know what? No,
have
I
ace-
like a check because the ace, we have the ace, we have the queen, and he has the king's on board. That leaves him very little that can call with a flush draw. So I would prefer, because the ace, queen, and the king are present,
Yeah,
I would lean towards a check trap here.
yep.
Because it's
The other
very
thing,
hard for villain 102 to have anything. And for that matter, it's very hard for villain 103 to have anything. It just happens that he's playing wide.
the other thing is this, it only takes 2 streets to get all in against villain 102, and it takes and it takes half a street to get in against 103. So you give up nothing by the check. And if another heart comes, and you
You're
lose.
happy if another heart comes, but it's very hard for them to call because
Right, that's what I meant, is you
got
don't
the
want
ace and the
the heart to
queen.
come
Yeah. Yeah.
because
So
then it goes hard, but he
I would,
checked.
yeah, so he checks. So I don't think you really want to check raise against this guy because of the SPR.
No,
And you really want villain 102 to come along, even though we know he's
desperately.
not. So you just call. What the? Oh, he thinks he has a straight draw.
He thinks he has a straight draw, but also, I mean, he's willing to call this much with 3-6, so,
Okay.
and then
Okay,
this
cool.
happens, unfortunately.
So, okay, so that happens. That's really gonna be bad for your business. He just shoved. What happened?
Yeah, where'd that 24 chips come from? I thought he was already all in.
He is, it's just the way it recorded it.
Okay. Okay, it's a anomaly. So, okay. So. But then it looks like
That's
villain
a
102
separate
bluff
pot.
shoves, right?
Villain 102 bluff shoves. Almost shove.
So that would be a check raise because what's gonna happen here is you're
Now we
gonna
throw
just
in the rest of it,
put in the last 18 bigs.
and he calls it. My God. The only good thing about this hand is that I'm not in it.
All right, that's weird.
This hand is insane.
So,
Now let's see
Scotty,
why it's so big.
here's what I'm talking about, Scotty. You were not involved in this hand yet. It's recorded in your poker tracker as a minus 200 big dollar hand.
Is it? Well,
Yeah,
then
this is one of your big, or it's one of the biggest winners or one of the biggest
because
losers.
I did it off pop big blinds. Here, I'll look at it, what it says. No, it says that $24. Oh, it's who won it. The my C1 changes when you take it off. What the hell?
Yeah, that's the question I had. All these are like, because it's same in mine. Like if I do a report,
Yeah,
and I'm not involved, it shows all these, chips
it's not this
one.
hand. It's not this hand.
Well, if you go to the hand, you're going to see a big minus or a big plus, whichever
Yeah,
hand
we're
this
gonna
is.
go to that. Pots and big blinds. This is what we want. It's the hand with the king nine that I
Yeah,
have.
it's the second hand on this list.
Oh, because he's recording the ace queen. It isn't my C1. It's my becomes the person who it's filtered on. Remember, we've turned off my filter, so it says my C1 and it's wrong. It isn't
Yeah.
my. Yep, that's what we now know.
Oh,
Okay.
that's interesting. Okay.
Okay, good enough.
That hand was cray cray.
Bad hand, which cray cray.
And yeah, so my question at the beginning, Scotty, was like,
Yeah.
why does it determine this is a positive hand versus a negative hand? Because somebody lost a bunch of
Not a
money,
clue.
somebody won a bunch of money.
Yep, not a clue. Oh wait, no, the first one was the ace's hand. No, that wasn't. Never mind. Was that the biggest one? Ace king.
Okay.
Live
Nobody,
on collect.
yeah, nobody knows the answer to the question, so
Nobody
we
knows,
won't spend time on it.
yeah, and that's not poker. That's poker tracker. Okay. Up next is Mike. Mike, you get another giant hand.
Mm, can't wait. So ace queen opened, ace eight can three bet if they want. I'm gonna guess that we get a big pot here. So jacks, ace eight has the option to three bet. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, but ace eight in this position is not a very common three bet. Ace eight, they move to the higher ace eights, and so he calls. We see that all the time.
All right, Hero's going to three bet. He's gonna three bet to 12 probably ish. Let's see what he
Yeah,
does.
13 and a half.
Okay, 13,
Plus
good, fold,
plus the
fold.
dead, yeah, plus the dead. It was plus the dead money. So that's how I got to 13 and a half.
And all right, the ace queen suited just calls, which I'm sure is just fine with ace queen suited. Ace queen off would be a fold or a three bet.
Mhm.
Ace eight, now that he's cold called the original, we're pretty deep and you're closing the action. It's probably just a fold. We're probably going to see a call. I'm thinking it would be a fold here.
I think it's a good fold. But it's not a disaster call, but it's a better fold. He calls.
All right, so we see a flop three-way ace queen suited is going to, well, should check. Ace eight of spades should check, and then jacks. If it were me, and this is you, Scotty, let's see here. We're deep against the cold caller, the ace eight. 2-1 against, and 2-1 SPR against the original raiser who then cold called your three bet.
Mm-hmm.
Which probably tells me your equity's pretty darn good here. So if it were me, I would c bet, and I would c bet small, and I would probably c bet in the B25 to B33. Just I had a baseline. Do I need to size up for any reason? I don't think so. So I'd go B25. I'd make it
Okay.
11 or 12.
Right. How do you feel about B36.5?
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh no, I go bigger than that.
B50.
Yeah.
Just looking at these numbers on the table, just trying to see if I would have any reason to size up for any reason. Can't really tell. Doesn't look like there's too many hands on either of them. But yeah, I think this is fine. I just wouldn't make it quite as big.
Okay. So if the turn is a spade, it's good. If the turn is an ace, I probably won't bet. Therefore, the turn is going to be a spade or an eight. And I think the turn's going to be an eight. Yep.
You get that turn and he checks. I mean, he shouldn't have too many eights here. It would probably be like a 9-8. I mean, he shouldn't have ace eight, you would think, right? But again, this is online poker, so we can see he has it. Gosh, we get to this point, and you bet pretty big with an SPR of about 1.5-ish.
Yeah.
Ah,
I'm gonna lose it all on this. I'm going broke on this hand.
yeah, I'm trying to think if I were in your situation, if I would have any reason to check again, to check back here, and I just don't see why I would.
Well, okay,
I'd
so
probably
here,
do another blocker size. I'd probably block again if it were me.
so, here are the reasons for checking back, which is the hands that, so this guy flatted and then flatted a big bet, right? So he can
Hmm.
have hands like 6, 6, 8, 8, and 10, 10. I mean, I'm not saying he should have 10, 10, but he can have those hands. We've seen how people play, right?
Hmm.
Um, he can have ace 10 here, which I beat. You know, he can have jack 10 suited, which I beat. Um, but very few jack 10 suited. You,
Nines and sevens are certainly there.
yeah, queen, nines and sevens are there, but
Two overs with a backdoor, something like king,
two overs with a back.
queen,
Does he call
queen,
that? Does he call
jack.
the flop?
Well, like we saw him cold call already pre-flop, and then he cold called like your three bet. So I
Yeah.
mean, those types of players, I would say you can probably put those in there. Maybe not at a full frequency, but I'd say they show up here with it.
Jack, queen. Yeah. So okay. There's enough in the value targets. So I go half pot. He jams.
All right, yeah. So you made it big, pretty big. That you're kind of committed,
Yeah. Yeah.
but is it
I-
ever a bluff? Like I mean, you're bluff catching now, so.
yeah. I'm bluff catching. I'm bluff catching. And does he ever play an ace 10 this way?
I wonder if it's important that we have a rainbow flop here, rainbow to turn.
Yeah.
I wonder
So
if that's important in your
yeah, I
decision-making
don't know. I
process.
don't know how to fold an overpair at this point. At this point. So there we go. One of the things I think we're going to see is that the check raise turn is never a bluff. I think that's what we're
Yes,
seeing in our sequence here.
we should take note if it is ever a bluff.
Yeah, if we've seen one, if we see one at all. All right. Up next is
But
Richie.
like we said, will he do this with 10?
Right, right. Yeah, where are we relative to that? That's the thing. So we're on Richie. Here we go.
Hello. Um, okay, so this is nearly a full table in there. I think King Jack's actually a fold on in this normal in a offsuit. So
Yeah.
it folds to ace three suited, who can open, and then well, it should fold round, but it's obviously not going to. The King Jack opened, ace three then could potentially three bet. I think it's a low three bet, if any. It might even just be a straight fold.
There's a sliver of it. There's a
Sliver
sliver
of it, is it
of
okay?
ace
Yeah.
three. Yeah, ace three and ace six do a sliver of it. Ace five does it a fair amount, even again under the gun.
I was unsure about the ace three. I knew ace five would. I wasn't sure about the ace three. So they just call. Okay. Ace seven, I'm guessing on the button might call. No, they fold good. And then I'm assuming you're gonna fold this, hopefully.
Damn right.
King Jack, if this is gonna be a big pot, I'm guessing they're three betting then. So yeah. No, they
Should
just
be a
call.
fold
Wow.
No,
though.
I think we're gonna have a straight against a straight. The king jacks maybe hit really big, and that's where the check raise comes from. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Okay, so it's an open-ended straight draw for two players. I'm guessing the small blind's going to check because it hits the other players more than them in theory in range rise. King Jack
Or
is
just
the
check
opener.
range, or just check range in a in a three-way pot. From, you can use that. That's a perfectly fine heuristic. That's what I'm doing.
The only
Yeah,
one's
makes
gonna win
sense.
in this hand is ignition.
Yeah.
King Jack was the end of the gun opener. This is fairly good for their range, so they could open but also check range because of their position multi-way. But yeah, they continue. Ace three should probably just get out of the way here.
That's terrible.
Yeah. And then King Jack here, I guess they're going to do a check raise based on it being a large pot. It's not unreasonable, right? But I don't think it's also completely correct, is it? Is it better to call in this multi-way pot?
I would
rather than
imagine it's
check raise?
based, it's similar to heads up in that it's based partly on bet size. But I think the check raise here is fine, frankly, especially on a rainbow board. where there's
Okay.
less for them to continue with.
Right.
So
But
because it's not a large size, it's more okay to check raise. If it was a big size, it'd be better to call that, is it?
so I'm not as sure in multi-way pots, but I know that in single raise pots, what we've seen is that your check raise frequency is often correlated to the bet size, the C bet size. The smaller the C bet, the higher check raise frequency you're gonna have.
Yep, and this is a 50% bet, so that's not small,
No, it's big for a multi-way pot.
right? And if it were me with this exact hand in this exact situation, I would not check raise. And the reason is that when I'm check raising here, it's a semi bluff. I mean, I can get there, but semi bluffing into two players,
And two ranges, one, yeah, you've got a good point.
Yeah, that was my concern, was because it was multi-way. If it was single, it's a bit more, as you say, you can potentially, as you say, it's a semi-bluff, but you can continue bluffing if you don't hit on the turn, maybe even the river, right? But a multi-way, it just felt risky, but I was curious if it was correct or not. But okay, I'm guessing they're check raising then. So what size are they going to go if they do check raise into two people? Let's say about 25 big blinds.
Yeah, so your stack depth is actually pretty deep here, isn't it?
Yeah, for all of them as well, right? They're at 150 in essence, technically.
Uh-oh, I'm the host now.
We lost them.
You are the host now.
I am the captain now.
What a captain.
You guys want to sing a song?
Not really.
Okay, I thought I'd just throw it
I've
by
been
you.
told multiple times I'm the worst karaoke they've ever heard. So just
Richie,
saying.
do you follow the football at all in England?
So I follow soccer.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
Oh, do you
soccer.
mean? No, I
Yeah.
follow football, but I wasn't sure if you were referring to your football or my football.
What team do you follow?
So I follow Tottenham Hotspurs, but I just like the Premier League, to be honest.
Tottenham had a massive win this weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, they beat Man City
Oh, he's
4-0,
back.
which is pretty epic. Yeah,
Yeah, that was. I watched the highlights from that game. That was a good game.
very. But Man City seem to be going for a little bit of a rough there.
I went to the former. I guess it's still the same. I went to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium once.
So it depends how long ago you went, because they changed a few years ago. So then,
Yeah, before they had the expansion.
so they've moved stadium completely. Like it's completely different stadium. It's like
Oh,
the
did they
best
make it? I
stadium
thought
now.
they just
Yeah.
expanded. Oh, they made a new one. Did
Is
they?
Scotty back?
I'm back. Poker, poker, poker.
All right, we're back. We're
And
back
here
to
we go.
poker.
We're back to poker. Okay, so he just calls, which I think is a good play.
You were in the middle of explaining why you would just call and not raise.
When so the things that check raise that your semi bluff check raises do here is they get folds, and so you don't have to get there, and they give you, and when they do call, they give you another way to win the pot, right? The bad thing is if you get blown off your equity, because there are two players, those are twice as many people to have the bluff part of it not work, and twice as many people to blow you off your equity. Twice as many ranges that have pocket fives in them and pocket tens in them. and
Yeah,
queen
I
ten.
see your point.
So I think that the fact that it's gone multi-way makes that this is his best play.
I think you have a good point.
That's what I would do. And then the 9 or the ace comes on the turn, clearly. And whose hand this is Richie's hand, I believe. Okay.
Yeah. So I was estimating what they might check raise, but they didn't check raise, did they, that turn? They just called. Okay. Obviously they've hit the straight now. So I'm guessing they're check raising. Have we filtered for check raising, have we?
Yes. Yeah. There's
Okay.
always a check raise on the turn.
So this person's guaranteed checking then. Okay. And then the king jack, obviously, I guess, could either check or lead here, but they lead with their straight draw. That's fine. And then a3 should fold, but I genuinely don't know what this person's going to do now they've hit their ace. They fold, and then this person's going to raise. I would assume with two people showing action, they can do a decent size in. So let's say 45 bigs, maybe even 50. Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
And then this person here, right? There's the only thing they're scared of is the potential flush draw now. So they could shove here, or they could just call to if they think they might be getting check raised by weaker and go and, just want to keep them in. So I don't hate either or. I think I prefer the call. And then ace-3 should fold, but again, I don't know what this ace-3 is going to do.
Right.
I-
So the call gives the ace-3 the chance to make a mistake, and the jam allows him to play correctly. That's the one
Okay.
thing.
Fair,
But-
yeah, good
But it
point.
also risks the flush draw
It
and
does.
like that. So he doesn't, well, I think that's the best play, which he does. There we go. And the
Cool.
winner is, as Larry pointed it out,
The house.
ignition.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Sam is up next.
Hi everyone.
Hey, Sam.
Hi. So I think you should go till King Jack. King Jack is the only one which can
That's what should happen. But this,
open here.
and by the way, this is the 50-cent fast game. So this is so this is a $5 game here. I'm sorry, no, 50 cent. This is a $50 game. So
Okay.
still we see bad play.
So I think even now, I think King 9, Jack 8 should fold and King Jack. If 3 bets, it should bet around 4.5, 5. And we go ahead.
This amazes me
Oh,
that someone plays a
wow.
jack deuce offsuit in the fast game when they can push a button and have another hand in a second. The level of boredom needed. Wow.
Even ace-6, wow. So ace-6 should check now instead of betting. And Jack deuce may be open, maybe 2 BB, 2.5, half pot. Does it bet? Jack deuce?
Yep, goes
Okay,
bigger.
that's a big one.
Yeah.
Jack it should just call.
Hmm.
King Jack should raise, maybe around 10 BB. King Jack.
Yeah, the king,
Wow.
and I agree with you with the should, but the fact that if you look at this pre-flop, the guy who doesn't know to squeeze a king jack or against the limp, to ISO against the limpers also does this. So it's at least in
It's-
character.
Yeah. I think even ace-6 should call now because they are limpers and they don't know who's playing with what, or maybe they are very passive players.
Yep,
So even ace-6
Larry-
should call, waiting for the turn.
yep. Finally fold. And Larry, here's the example.
7-3 at least.
This is similar to the king jack in the previous one, which is, yes, the ace-6 has a possible check raise semi bluff here,
Mhm.
but
Hmm.
for it to be, but it loses all of its bluff energy against 3 players.
Yeah, you have a good point.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I think you're right.
Exactly.
I mean, you're trying to generate folds ultimately, right? So, and generating folds from 2 ranges is a lot different than 1 range.
Yeah.
So he is playing in position. This is gonna get interesting.
He's out of position. All right, Sam, what do we got? What's next?
Ace-6, it's a very easy check for him. Jack 2 should also check now because flush is there on the board.
Damn right.
Wow. Then it's easy. I think Jack 8. I don't know. Jack 8 has a spade in its hand, and
Yeah.
can it call? Yeah, I think maybe wait for a 9 or something. King Jack calls also should call because it's got a king and can wait for another card for spade.
Yeah.
King
King
jack
jack
should
should
also call here, according to their play.
The king jack should expect that he's behind, but he just can't fold here, I think.
He's got a king spade. I think ace-6 would have been a great. It had been a great opportunity for him to raise now,
How big?
at least
Would you like to
3
know?
times, so that even if people who, I think just to he's already won, so now he should not more than 3 times, maybe 30 BB, not more than that, and maybe a couple of them call. Oh, just twice. He missed out on some value, I think, here, because people might have still called him here if
Yeah.
he'd gone a little higher. But Jack deuce should fold here. Jack deuce should fold now, but it's a small raise, so. But still, it's a very small raise to actually fold for anyone. Everyone would call now.
Now, now I'm going to give you, even though you wouldn't have played it exactly this way, what do you want to do with Jack 8? Not what do you think he should do. What do you want to do with Jack 8 here?
So many players playing, and you don't know who's playing with what card. I think the safest, if I want to continue, I'll just call, because I've got a gutty there. I've got a little chance of a flush also, and maybe hit 2 pair, or I know there's so many opportunities. There's so many cards, or for me, that I would just call. I don't
Okay.
want to disrupt anything here because there are too many players playing.
Gotcha. I would fold
And
here.
someone might hit a flush or a straight. Yeah, if you think that way, yeah, it is a fold. But looking at the way they have been playing, after putting in so much money, this guy would not fold. He would just play like that.
He probably wouldn't.
And
I-
with such a,
If I
for
were
me, the
him,
fold would have been in the pre-flop only.
yeah. Oh yeah, I wouldn't have been, well, yeah, I wouldn't have limped behind, but
Exactly,
that's
we
what I
would
said,
not
we're
be in the
both
pot
here.
if you were us.
Yeah, we're both here.
Yeah.
I think that he should fold here, and I think the king jack should call. And the reasons are that his gut shot is super dirty. The 9 comes and he loses to a king. So so his gut shot is worthless. His spade draw, given the action here, has no confidence.
Yes.
Okay. And his jack is not good. And his second pair, his 8, brings in a straight, a less likely one, So I think this is an easy fold. And the reason the king jack, I think, can stay is that his straight draw is to the nuts on the ace side. It's close to the nuts on the 9 side. And his spade draw is to the second nut. So he can get killed here, but he has enough going on. The jack 8 doesn't. That's my break point. Plus the king jack closes the action. The jack 8 doesn't. I don't think the king jack is raising here. I mean, if you're this guy, there's so rare that this guy's got a raise here where he calls, then gets raised, then gets a call, and then all of a sudden decides to pile it in. That just isn't common, but it's possible. So I think all those add to the king jack the jack 8 should be a fold, and the king jack, given the size, should suffer and lose 9 more big blinds. But he doesn't do it. And now, having done that, the king jack, I think he has to call.
King jack call. Yeah, he'll just call.
It's a terrible call, but I think he needs to do it. Yeah. All right.
Wow.
How big do you want to bet his ace 6?
Uh, 50%. 50% would be good, I think. Otherwise, it'll just scare everyone away. Not more than that. I would actually, if I would have been in its position, maybe I would just check or trap, maybe check trap. Will it work?
So if you believe the king of spades out there is going to bet, then a check is great. If you think the king of spades might check behind, you can't check and you should bet all in. I think you should ISO yourself to trying to get called by the king of spades. Ignore now the straights and all that, and just try to get called by the king or the jack of spades, and it's possible they'll call 90%. So he does it. That seems
all in.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah, well, he's only got 25 with there.
Perfect.
And king. Doesn't get away either. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, betting anything smaller than that would have been losing out on value.
Yep. Yeah. So much bad play. Okay. Up next is fish cakes. You have this
Hey.
lovely.
Oh, nice. All right, let's open ace queen. And then this is final 50, right? I guess fours should probably not really call, but I mean it's not really a crime if they do. And
It's
ace
fine.
jack,
Absolutely
yeah,
fine.
against 3 big blinds it's kind of close, I think, but and then ace jack squeeze to 15, say, and queen 2 folds. And then I don't know, either 4-bet or call, doesn't really matter, and then 4 should fold.
Yeah, four should
Okay.
fold. They're not getting good. I mean, there's 2 ranges out there. Yeah, the 4 should fold there.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, small blind check, so you should check. Okay. Okay, they bet. Interesting.
Right. He doesn't have the multi-way heuristic that says you just check out of position your range. He says, I've got the hand.
You just even have the heads up heuristic to check to the aggressor on this kind of board.
Yeah.
I would just raise her against what I would now assume is a recreational. I think you just want to get the stacks in, basically. I'd probably raise like 3x.
Okay. It's me doing it, and I don't see any reason to raise here. I think that I'm way ahead or way behind. His range here with his 3-bet out of position includes ace king, includes ace queen, includes some ace jack. And I don't know how to tell the difference between them, and I don't want to find out by raising. I think I just call.
Question for you guys
I don't-
here. Quick question, if you
Go
don't mind.
Yeah.
This is as dry a texture as we can have.
Right.
On this dry texture, are we incentivized to slow play more or fast play more? I'm not sure.
I think slow play is better because you have
Because
to
we're
let
safe.
others to catch up. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing can hurt us.
Yeah.
I mean, a 4 can hurt us and a jack can hurt us. Those are the only cards.
Mm.
I just I don't know, when I'm against someone who's like clearly bad, I have you just like you can't be, yeah, you can call this, but like you're gonna have such an easier time getting stacks in if you just build the pot like early and do it yourself as well.
Do you know that how confident are you that you want to get stacks in? I'm not.
Because like I am though, because like just because he has ace king or sevens or like ace 7 in his range doesn't mean you should be scared to get stacks in.
No.
Like it's okay to get stacks in and lose sometimes, because you'll get more value from like the times when you like would stack him off when you wouldn't have if you call, if you know what I mean. Like
Right. Yep.
it's, I don't know, I think people are too scared to be
Right.
like to be thin with value.
Yeah. Right.
In my
Okay,
opinion.
so that's fine. Okay, so let's look at one thing that you said. You called him a recreational. And what is our clue that he's recreational? Well, he's playing in the $50 game on Ignition, so he's probably not a pro with that, but so are we.
Because he's donked a7-2 rainbow like after.
No,
Sorry, my bad. I thought we 4-bet him. My bad. Sorry.
No. That's what I'm
okay,
saying is I haven't seen anything from him that says the fact that he bets out as the.
Okay, ignore everything I said.
Okay, so let's go back now. So now with this action, what do you want to do? Now that we've reviewed it.
Okay, so we do probably have like the button is definitely like more likely to be recreational, and ace-7-2 under the gun versus small blind, you're probably not gonna play a huge amount of raises. I mean, ace queen will be a raise in theory if it's his heads up, like for sure, I think. But with the button there too, then calling I think has like an incentive of being better, because if you do raise, you will shove the button out of the pot too much, and you want him to stay. So, like if he has a hand like nines or like tens or whatever, he'll call this like bet for sure, but he won't call if you raise upright. So
Okay.
yeah,
So we all agree on
yeah,
that. Good.
yeah,
And there's your answer.
yeah.
Great. So we have to fade a jack or a 4. And we get a club, which is even better. Great.
Okay, and then SPR is like less than one. One
Yeah.
is a small bounty.
SPR of 1-ish. Yep.
What is a small bounty?
Small blind now checks.
It gets a little more complicated with the button being here too. I mean, bet or check are both like fine. I think it just depends which, like, if you have some reason that you think one is going to be better than the other. Like, do you think a button is going to like stab a lot, or is small blind the kind of player that's gonna like bet check bet like bluff river a lot? Then you want to check for sure. But like if you think he's a bit stationary, then betting the now is like far better than checking probably. Then you can just like bet river, like bet small turn, bet small river, get stacks in and get called by like really wide range of hands. Like maybe if he calls like king queen, and then you definitely want to just get stacks in. So it just depends what you perceive for these players. But like as a default, I think I would lean more towards check just because the button is there too. But yeah, I think I would very quickly be like shifted towards betting, like if with any reason.
Yeah, I think all that makes sense. A check is one of the reasons a check is fine is that my river bet, if it goes check, 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 and I have to bet the river, I'm only betting an SPR of 1. So I might get called by a king. I could get called by a lesser ace with an SPR of 1. So that's easy. So check is fine. If I bet, the normal thing you'd say is, well, you would only bet all in, you would on an SPR of 1, you just bet all in. And I think in this, I can make an exception of betting small because
Yeah, I don't think you have to
I
jam.
have the flush draw.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't think you have. I don't think you have to think of it like if the only bet size you have is
Right.
all in.
No, that's not
Yeah, I
the
think I can
case.
bet. I think I can bet small, and I think I can bet really small. I think I can bet 20 here.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
15. But I go for the check, which is the greatest
And there
thing.
you go. Yeah, there you go. Like this is why I think check is quite nice, because the button's
Yeah.
in the hand too. Because like recreationals will just do this kind of thing.
Yeah, that's so great.
And
And the
then
call.
you just like snap it or jam like
Yeah.
instantly. Or like
Yeah, just happily jam. Yeah,
yeah.
great. And what's the river going to be? Is the river going to be a 4 or a jack? Which one's it going to be, people? 5. Yay. There we go. All right.
To be fair, it's like not the not the craziest bluff from button, but I wouldn't really send it.
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna have many like hands to bluff with other than like queen, like the gut shots and stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So this to him in his mind, that's just a that's a continuation bet with, pocket kings or pocket queens, something like that. He calls it. He can pick up a 4, a 5, or it can go check, check. When this guy checks, he has very few aces, right? When I check behind, what do I have that I called the 15? What do I have that I call 15 with? And that I
You
don't.
definitely have aces. Like
I have an ace.
like ace. Yeah, you definitely can, because I think these like ace high boards multi-way, like these are the boards where people are most comfortable to slow play, because they don't
Yeah.
feel like they don't people
Yeah.
like the idea of slow playing, because you like trapping is like doubly is like incentivized, and also because there's no overcards, right? Like, so people would love to like slow play like top pair when it's any sideboard.
I think this
But
is an
I don't
incredible
think this,
stupid-
yeah, guy knows that.
I think this is an incredibly stupid bluff from the fours. Ignore what our
Yeah.
hands are. For me, for this guy, for me to call the 15 on a board this dry, I have no draws. I mean, if I can have 8s or 9s that he's trying to get me off of,
You have,
but I
you have
probably
like a
folded
lot
those
of,
in the
you should have,
multi-way anyway. Yeah,
you should have like a decent amount of
he's got to get it
still.
through he's got to get it through 2 players.
Yeah.
I just think that's
I mean, so to be fair, some tables and some boards like this that will like actually work. I think just because people will be so capped, but I think just on that kind of board, people are not going to be as capped as other
Yeah.
spots.
Yep. I'm with you. It's easy to have an ace, and you're really trying to bluff them off of a bad ace. With it, you're trying to bluff them off of a bad ace with an SPR less than 1. That's
There's a lot of pairs still like
Yeah.
kings through.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
to 7s or 6s.
2
Or 7s,
players
but-
though. All right. So here we go. This is me. This should go fold, raise, fold, call. Fold, raise, fold, call. Good. All right. This is going to go badly. He checks intelligently. I look at this board, which misses everything. I have 2 back doors, so I can bet. And if I bet, I should bet small, like 2. I do. He raises. He just check raises there. And I should just get out of the way. 2 overcards and the 2 back doors isn't enough against a check raise. But I don't play good. And now I pick up one of my magic cards. He checks. And I go, that's what I was looking for. This king is bad for his range of his check raises. All his 10s are there. So I now pick something up. I now turn my hand into a bluff. Bet 16. He check raises again. And I realize I am screwed. Now, given how deep we are, do I go for it?
I mean, we can calculate in pot odds here, but I think you might have implied odds.
I need 25%. And I've got implied odds. I can call this. Ha! And with that, he jams to make it easy. And life. There we go. Justice. All right. Up next is Larry.
All right. So hero can open. 8-9 is a 3-better fold. A6 doesn't get I don't think it gets 3 bets here. I think it just folds.
So he calls. Not a surprise.
Yeah. Ace queen should squeeze
Mm-hmm.
to
To what side?
15.
15. I like it.
Yeah. You get to call.
Hmm.
And ace-6 should get out of the way. So this is terrible. We all know this is terrible. This is a terrible call. You're often dominated, and here we're seeing it in the flesh, in the Zoom flesh. It looks like Hero's doing well today. A6 is going to pay the price for their poor play. Put
Right.
more money in. So ace queen was our squeezer. Ace queen now.
Right. I'm going to go back and look at one thing. I'm
Sure.
taking away his hand just for a second. The turn bet on this one was not okay. So that one was not a bluff. And this stupidity here was check, bet, call, and then I raise. Yeah. So so that's not a bluff either. So no bluffs so far. That's all I was just checking. We have not
Yeah,
seen
good
check
point.
raise bluff yet. Okay. Back to here.
All right, so we are on flop.
Yeah.
Hero's got a dream flop. So if I was ace queen, this is kind of awkward because I can improve to a backdoor straight. But generally, my range should be very, very nutted here.
Mm-hmm.
So I would bet like 10. Fine, 12.
Sure.
So hero should be aware of SPR. So SPR now is essentially 2 and change. Um, uh, he's got the jack of spades. I generally think you don't want to fast play here in position. You've got someone betting into you. Jack of spades is good to have. Blocking flushes that can come and blocking his flush draws like his ace jack and he's not really, he might have king jack or queen jack bluff rarely. I think it's important. There is no ace jack available. Yeah, I would flat.
Mhm.
Ace
And this,
six. So
and that
this
flat
is,
just got me, it got me 12 big blinds.
yeah, and so you got this guy who's screwing up. I think it's important that we look at equities, how powerful the set is here. Obviously sets can get outdrawn. I mean, it's possible, right? But it's just an incredibly powerful hand. We can see it here in the multi-way equities. Okay, so he 527 should check. Ace queen should read the room, understand he just got 2 calls. Understand that ace king is also going to be part of some people's range, even though it shouldn't. He kind of wants to hit a 10. I would check a lot if I was ace queen. I might be influenced by the hand, but essentially, if I'm playing here in his spot and I get 2 calls after I squeezed, we're looking at 2 really strong ranges that I'm up against, and I'm not really super thrilled with my top pair good kicker. I would check here. So the jacks are an interesting spot. Their SPR is, what is this, like 1.5?
Yeah.
You are motivated to get some money in here. I would bet between a third and half. All right, this is fine. Ace six gets smart. Ace
Figured.
queen. I don't. Okay, let's put ourselves in ace queen's position. You're blocking the straight. I'm blocking the flush draw. I think you have to be with ace king is going to be in a lot of recreational range here.
And ace jack.
And
king,
ace jack, yeah.
king jack of spades.
But I don't think you get to fold when you've got a clean out. Well, it's not clean because it could be a spade. I don't think you get to fold. I think you have to call.
I do too, but you shouldn't do that, right?
You definitely should not do that. That's kind of a suicide check raise. So this
But
is
it-
like the worst case check raise here,
Mhm.
where we're seeing someone who is only going to get called by better and never get called by worse.
Mhm.
Except maybe like, yeah, because the ace of spade, like the flush draw would have an ace. Maybe they get called by like king, queen of spades, but that's it.
But let's do put this. This is still not a bluff. So if you,
No,
you
this
know,
is just a mergey. This is just very
Right.
mergey. This is a merge error.
Yeah.
Is what this
so
is.
if we have 2 pair here, we should not confidently call this bet against against population, but I don't know if we can fold it. But
That's a good point. So
we
if
can
you
fold
have
the
ace
bad
jack
pot, but we
here
can-
without a spade,
Yeah.
this becomes a very
Yeah.
interesting spot.
but we can fold anything that is purely a bluff catcher.
Yeah,
pairs
so
of money.
that's an important, so what would our bluff catch be here? Our bluff catch would be like
Ace 10,
ace 10.
king something.
Yeah, so
know,
ace
with-
10
I
suited
don't
would
think
be, I
it's
think, the
ace
most
10.
common one.
I don't think you bet 40 big blinds with ace 10 here, really.
No, I wouldn't.
So
Um,
that's not really in your range.
I
yeah,
would
that's a
check.
good point.
Yeah.
So, if you had villain 5-2-3's hand and you're a
Mhm.
hero, I think it makes sense to think about folding. I mean, it's hard to do. I mean, so the term that Peter Clark uses that I like a lot is fortune reversal.
Mhm.
Just quads. Fortune
Yeah.
reversal. So can we go back to the action on turn real quick?
Can't we just watch me get quads over and over again?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, here's
We've got an hour and a half to do that.
Yeah.
right? Okay, so this is an important lesson from Peter Clark. And this requires our brain to be malleable, right? So Obviously you're never folding with this hand, but if you have, let's say, ace jack here, or let's say you're ace queen and your hero, and you all of a sudden see this check raise shove from out of position.
Mhm.
The term that I hope, I sometimes fail, of course, but I hope comes to mind is fortune reversal.
Mhm.
What you thought was value that you're betting for 40 big blinds is now you've experienced fortune reversal and you have to reassess where you are in the hand.
And you have extra fortune reversal because at this point you were salivating. You went, let's keep people in. I got it.
Yeah, yeah.
And now,
And I'm drawing to a 10 as well.
yeah, I got it. And now, no, I'm thinking of the jacks.
Yeah,
The jack, well, I got it. When this raise comes, the jack should not be thinking, I got it anymore. On the flop, I was going, what can I do to get all the money in and keep as many people and all like that, right? Just how do I
Yeah.
get this pot big? Right now, I'm not folding. I mean, for 70, I'm not folding, but I'm not ecstatic.
yeah, you
Because,
really got to think about where you are. You have to fortune reversal. I think the
yeah,
term that I hope comes to mind for me is fortune reversal.
right. Because what is this range from the ace queen? Does he have any queen 10 suited here? Maybe a little bit. Remember, he three bet the pre-flop. So not a lot of queen 10 does that, but some might.
Yeah,
But
so
ace,
his bluffs are gonna be like,
I don't think he
what,
has.
like some kind of spade draw, like,
I think it's pretty much just kings, like mostly that you see.
It's pocket kings, pocket
yeah.
ace, ace king, queen 10, and this mistake.
I'm pretty comfortable calling this, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
With
There's
this combo, yeah,
all
we're
the ace
always
king
calling.
offsuit is there.
We're never folding a set here.
We're not folding
Yeah,
this.
you can
But
snap
if we
it.
had ace queen and we were hero playing in position and we saw this check raise,
We gotta
that's when
fold.
I think we have to start.
Yeah, I think you can just fold there. Yeah.
We have to fold ace queen
It's
here.
hard to do, at least for me, but it's important. I think that's why I like to remind myself of this concept of
Yeah.
fortune reversal.
Mhm, that's good. That's good.
Right. And we don't have to fold the ace queen on the flop to a check raise. But I think, but again, we're going to keep going through this and we're going to count the bluffs we see. This is
Yeah.
not a bluff. This is just a mistake.
This is a merge, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Up next is Mike.
Okay. Well, look at this. I guess, I mean, in theory, 10-9 is the only hand that should be really getting anywhere past the flop here besides the kings. So let's see who limps in. Okay, so somebody goes a little wide here. So now we should fold to the kings. 3-bet. I would make it 14. They go 12, which is fine. Oh, we're pretty deep too, so I definitely would have been
Right.
more than the typical 3x whatever, 4x whatever. So 8-4 should fold.
This is the $25 fast game. So that's why that might be why we're seeing even worse play on this one. Because this is,
Okay.
all right.
Sure.
Yep.
All right. So we get this flop. We're kings. We 3-bet and got called. King of spades, fantastic. We are still relatively deep here, and we got called. I'm going to continue to c-bet here. I might, depending on what I think of villain 530, do some sizing up, but standard-wise, I would probably just go with kind of a typical B33 type here. If stacks were smaller, I might even go like a B25, but so he goes 33. I mean, if you're here with 8-4, if you somehow got here, I'm trying to think if I would have a reason to check raise, and I suppose I would.
Not check raise. You're in position.
Oh yeah, we're in position.
Raise.
You're right.
Yeah. You have a good
Um,
reason. You have a good reason to raise here.
Yeah, I could see
And
myself raising this, I suppose, if I was here, but let's see what happens. I'm not going to spend too much time on an 8-4
Yeah.
when he shouldn't be here. So he does raise now, out of position with the king of spades. Do we ever want to 3-bet? I suppose probably in theory we're not going to be 3-betting too often here. But versus like an exploitative reason to maybe just try to get it in depending on the player. 22 hands, probably don't have enough on it. I would probably just flat here.
Yeah. I like it.
And then I'm just probably gonna be checking every turn. So we check, I would check there, see what happens. Do we just get it in now or just continue to check call? I think either's fine because your stack to pot ratio is now so low. Yeah, I think that's fine. I was sort of trying to get a reason to just call again, but I think either's fine.
Right. And the beautiful thing is, villain 530 should call. If this guy turned his hand over and showed his pocket kings, villain 530 should call.
Mm-hmm. It
The
would be a
magic of
profitable
pair
call.
plus draw.
Yeah. Pair plus draw is big.
Big enough to suck out on kings.
What do you guys think about the flop line of bet 3-bet versus kind of like fishier players?
Definitely. Yeah, just send it in, I think.
And then assuming the player was a good player, do we not bet 3-bet as much? Do we just call and take this line more often, or do we still just want to try to maybe just go for it?
I think it's like in between because the stack depth is a bit deeper as well. But I think kings is definitely the kind of hand that would want to. If any hand wants to like get it in now, it would be kings. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's got, in his range here, he has a lot of suited aces, right?
Who's he? Who are you talking about?
Villain 530, the razor. So we are pocket kings. Our opponent has in this range, at this moment here, he has top pair that we beat and top pair, top kicker mostly, right? Because his queen, he folds a lot. Remember, we 3-bet pre-flop.
Sure. He has all the value hands that we can expect. He can
Yeah.
have queens, he can have sixes,
Right.
he can have fours, and then he's not going to have 6-4. He's not going to have any of the 2 pairs.
Right.
So
what I mean is-
yeah, he's going to have a lot of the ace X of spades, maybe ace X of hearts.
Right. And so this is my thought here. You were saying is should we 3-bet here? So he has queen X where the X is generally an ace and a king and maybe a jack. He's folded a lot of other queens. So he's got queens that can do this. He has the 3 hands that kill us, fours, pocket fours, pocket sixes, pocket queens. Not a lot of pocket queens don't 4-bet pre, but he's got the 4s and the 6s, sure. And then other than that, what stays in and does this? A lot of ace X of spades, right? And ace X of spades, we are happy to not give a free card to. So we're happy to 3-bet against that. Because ace X of spades might check back the turn on our call and get 2 free cards to draw to an ace and a spade. So I think those are all arguments for the 3-bet now.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason is because with ace queen, if spade does come, then like if you jam now, ace queen is definitely never getting away.
Right.
But if you call and then get like some spades like scare card, then you're just definitely not getting stacks from ace queen when you still want to.
Right. Now does ace queen here, let's give him ace queen no spade. Does he call a jam?
He should, yeah, like for
So
sure.
our raise is going to be a jam size raise at this point. Okay.
I think so.
I don't know
So
if I would have jammed it.
Oh
But
yeah,
I guess I
think-
should.
I mean, what
I
are
guess
you going to make it? You're going to make it what, like 55 and leave?
Oh, like
that much behind?
75. And I mean, I'm saying it's probably a mistake, but I could see myself making this like 75. He puts in another 50, leaving him 50 behind on the turn and then jam the turn.
I think you could click it or jam.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's good. All right, so this happens and then that happened. All right.
Yeah.
Up next, that was Mike. So up next is Richie.
Okay, where are we? So jacks can open. Should fold round to kings who should 3-bet. And then jacks will probably call.
Good.
Sorry.
So
Can I interrupt for a second? I'm just curious. Can you go
Yeah.
back to his 4x sizing here? I just wanted to compare pot odds and equity. All right. After so everybody else folds. What's his equity again? Right here. 1833. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
should have probably, would you have sized bigger? Because it's quite big stacks.
Yeah, I guess he's
And it's a
sizing
big
bigger.
open as well. Big open as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
already pretty big.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just curious what the equity different. Yeah.
But okay, so obviously out position to checks as well as being the caller. King, obviously low board, not the best for them, but they still have the overpair, so they should continue the bet. And then jacks can call.
Jacks can't fold here.
Yeah. Richie, I think you just muted yourself.
Sorry, yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think jacks fold here. I think jacks call.
Mhm.
Okay, jacks check, kings continue again with their overcard. They've gone pretty big as well, which is reasonable. It's big stacks. They're trying to get it all in. The only concern, right, is they don't have a blocker, but again, I think it's still fair to get it all in here. This board shouldn't really hit the undergun openings range, who was obviously 3-bet. And then jacks here, I guess, is going to potentially, well, it's the check raise situation, isn't it? So they're going to potentially shove here. I can't imagine they're going to go small with the stop pot ratio. They shove, and then kings is going to hate it, but should call probably. Not going to feel 100% confident.
Yep.
There we go.
What do we think of the jack check raise shove on the turn? Again, he's not bluffing. So we got that. It's still not a bluff.
No, yeah. I don't know.
I think it's
I don't
very
know.
bad.
I don't know if I
Yeah,
like it.
I don't like it. Yeah, I
It's
don't
really
like
bad.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the only advantage it gets, like, you deny equity from ace X, which has like top pair draw plus straight draw. That's it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then
and
you
you're
get
only getting
stacked.
called
You
by
get stacked
better,
like
really, aren't you?
queens, kings, aces.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I almost like the check raise on the flop better than the turn. And if he decides not to do it on the flop because of the size and the size of the turn, I would not want to do it on the turn either. I want him to lose all his money in a different order.
What was the size
Yeah,
of the
you got-
flop?
It was quite large. It was half, I think, was it?
Yeah, it was like
Yep.
D6, D6.
Two-thirds.
Just
I think.
about.
Thirds.
Yeah, 2/3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Scotty. I think it's better to do it on the flop than the turn, right? Because at least you have an option of going, if they go over the top of you, you could consider I might be beat by queens, kings, aces here and then fold. Where here now, well, they've shoved, so they can't even fold, but you're only likely gonna get called by better, right?
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
I think on the flop, like already, Jacks is like close to 0 EV,
Mm-hmm.
especially without the club. Like, I don't think folding is a mistake.
I couldn't do it.
It's not. I mean, I don't think I
Oh.
do it either. I don't think I do it either. But
I was
like,
gonna say-
I don't think it's bad. Like, I think you can fold because if you just 3.5x open, 12 big blind raise from button, and then 5-3-2. Like, he's gonna have like almost so many of his bluffs are gonna be just ace X, which have like good
Yeah.
equity against you. His bluffs have a good equity against
Exactly,
you,
and
and he
that's why you
crushes
can't
you,
fold, right?
and he crushes you with value.
Yeah.
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 Too.
Ace,
So
queen,
like,
ace, queen with any club. Sure. Easy.
yeah, I think you're like, yeah. If he has like more trashier bluffs, then it makes sense, right? But I just don't. I think he has that much, and then the bigger flop size. It just depends, like what kind of player
Well, there would
the
still
button
be
is.
nines and tens in the buttons range, right? Because they're
Yeah.
the 3-better. So I don't think calling the flop is bad at all. I think you can make the argument to fold to 2 barrels. Yes, they're going to have bluffs still going for the draws, the flushes and straights we've already touched upon. But I think calling the flop is more than fine. Like,
Oh yeah, I didn't say it's bad.
I think folding the flop is a bit too tight.
We're gonna run this one.
I don't think it's tight.
Larry, we're gonna run this one.
Oh, you're gonna find jacks are gonna want to fold pre-flop at some frequency, and when you get to the flop to a large size bet, you're gonna find it's gonna be very indifferent. Exactly what Fish Cakes is saying.
Yeah, let's open this one. Do you want to, Larry or Mike, who open this up in a solver, whoever's gonna do it?
Can you, do the full run out?
Yeah, there's the full run out. So while you're doing this, my view is that I don't fault the jacks particularly for losing all their money, but I don't like the order they did it in. I think that there's a tiny bit of check raising on the flop, but the check call's better. I like that.
Yeah.
On the turn, there's some folding and some calling, but I
check
think check raise is terrible here. And then against a different river, like an 8, I think you check, call, and lose your money in different order. But against this particular river, after the check call, now if the kings go for it, I think you can strongly consider folding. How much do you have left when you do it? It's 40. You've got 110 left. Yeah, I think you can fold some on the river. So that's my prediction on that line. All right. We're not going to get it because we're not going to have these stack sizes, but also the pre-flop raise is not going to be as big. And you ready, Larry?
Almost.
I think the main reason it's close is just because it's an under the gun raise. Like if this was cut off or maybe like hijack, then yeah, you definitely have to call. But because the ranges should be much tighter when it's 7 max, like undergo 7 versus button.
Yeah.
But they're both de-stacked, right, as well. So that's why the plots are inflated. If it wasn't deep stacked, then their ranges are slightly wider because it's deep stacked, right? Is the thing for both of them.
The thing is though,
Yeah.
that deep stack that we start with, it's gonna affect it less because the computer is gonna give us a 2.5 open here, and the 3-bet's not gonna be as big. So the stack to pot ratio is gonna be similar post flop in this analysis. So
And we
it's not.
can't get the right rake. So the only
Yeah.
8-handed rake we can get is line 10%. There's gonna be
Yeah, just do it 9. Yeah, just do it 9. Do whatever whatever you do.
Okay.
The other reason as well, I think, is just because like in practice, people still just don't like 3-bet as aggressively as the solver does versus under the gun, and then they won't have like a balanced enough like betting range on the flop versus like tight ranges.
Right. Okay. One thing, Larry. The initial raiser is from 1, 2.
It's under gun 2.
The initial raiser is under the gun +1.
It's 2, right?
No,
It's
under
2
the gun
behind low
+1.
jack.
Yeah, it's low jack -2, which is under the gun 1 in this scenario.
Oh,
So
one
give it-
off. I think that's it.
Yeah, it's
I don't think
probably
that's
fine.
drastically changed a lot of stuff.
Okay, fine. All right.
So,
Look how often you got to fold jacks. I'm guessing under the
yeah,
gun.
so let's look at pre-flop. Mix.
A lot of folds of jacks. Yep. I don't know a lot of people who fold jacks here. Skates here.
That's good. Yeah, it's a 0 EV hand though.
Okay.
I think queens are 0 EV hand too. No.
Yeah.
Really,
But
only
it's another 2 positions, right? Because there were 2 people out on the table, so they're not under the gun.
It's really under the gun. It's really under the gun 1.
I think it's
so
under gun 1.
Put it in under the gun 1,
No,
Larry.
I think isn't it under gun 2? If you go to the
Yeah.
hand.
No.
Because there's
under the
2
gun one.
people missing, isn't there?
Yeah, there's 2 people
No.
missing.
No, it's not, there are 2 people missing 10-handed.
Oh, it's a 10-handed
Oh,
table. Oh,
It's not a
okay,
10-handed
okay, I
table,
get
it's a
you.
10-handed review.
Oh, I see.
It's a 9-handed table with 8 people at it.
yeah,
He's in
it's
under.
still a 0 EV
It's
call.
still similar, right? We'll just go with that. Yeah. Queens never folds. All
It
right.
might yell at me though, because this might
We'll see
not
if
be
it
my plan.
Oh, if it does, I'll put it in mine. So
Okay.
flop is 2, 5, 3, 2 of spades, 5 of clubs, 3 of clubs. Got it? Yeah, it's not,
So you check. It's betting pure here.
betting
Likes to bet
pure.
50%.
betting 50. He went 66, but we'll do the 50. That's fine.
So the question really is, are our jacks, so our jacks are already indifferent.
Yep.
Without a club, I mean, what, yeah. Maybe we can
Without a club,
say
you start
against
folding.
humans. Without, if we do decide to call jacks here. We can overfold without a club and call with a club.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worth a whole, it's worth 10 big blinds per 100 to have a club here. So maybe that's where we can call the difference.
Wow. Okay.
So we choose to call.
Yep. So the call is fine, which is what we thought, and a little bit of raising and some folding.
7 parts. Now he uses a highly polarizing size, which he's not supposed to use because of SPL.
Yeah.
So, well, this is, sorry, this is out of position.
So out of position. Oh, so did out of position have some donks there?
Out of position at dogs because his flop is so bad.
Okay.
His turn and flop are so bad.
Right.
And maybe it brings in something.
Right.
Maybe it brings in some combos.
I
But
think it's
perfectly fine for
because
the jack to check. So he does that. We like that.
Fish cakes, what were you gonna say?
I think it donks because so many like none of the buttons like range really improved other than a small
Yeah,
amount
I
of
mean,
like
we missed all the Broadway. I mean, you can see it here,
Yeah.
right? So button, in theory. Button's 3-bet range should include like some king X. Some
yeah,
ace
it
X.
really doesn't enough though in reality.
So because that all missed, it's shifted the equity advantage to out of position.
Yeah.
But we all know that people's 3-bet range is not gonna be this. This
Larry,
balance,
roll
it's gonna be
over the
much more linear.
jacks for a second, and let's just see if the suit makes a difference for whether we donk or not.
Okay, what, you wanna look at jacks?
Yeah, it does make a difference. Okay, that's fine. It's about the same. That's all I need to know. All right.
Okay, so then. We check. And now we do get a big bet. Supposed to bet
Good.
big here.
And that's what he does.
So, but big now, let's see if the jacks are indifferent.
For sure.
Good. But there's no jamming of the jacks. Good.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is that, even though a flush isn't possible, we like blocking their flush draw,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not, you can see the EV difference is not that much.
Right.
But queens can just yellow it sometimes, which makes sense, 'cause queens at this point on this run out, which is bad for, your 3-better. Cause it missed all broadways. It's like our best hand. It's like, if we put this. It's like for 5s. Put it in this region, right? It's got like. Right, it's border. It's interesting. It's 50% equity. And then we start getting into like sets probably. And after that, then we go right to sets. So it's our best non-set.
And Larry,
So
the reason the
he's
jack of
indifferent now. Against jacks.
Yeah. And the reason the jack of clubs is so important here, even though we can't get a flush, is when he has a flush draw, we block it from coming in, right? So that's good.
I
Also,
think that's the reason.
when we are also trying to draw to 2 jacks to beat his aces and kings and queens, right? And when
We've got 2 outs to the
right.
nuts.
And when we've got the spade diamond, one of those outs is the clubs, and it could be a loser.
That's a really good point. I think you're onto something there,
That's
Scotty.
why the jack of clubs is so valuable. It's those 2 things
I
together.
think you deciphered the code.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
you're right about the, I think we like having the jack because we're blocking. Because we don't have to worry about a dirty out to the 2 other jacks.
Exactly.
So we call, which we're supposed to sometimes.
Right.
The river was a
Queen of clubs.
So I think this is gonna change a lot.
I hope that this is where we can get away from our jacks some.
We can shove our set.
Yeah.
Check. He only has all in. He had
But
kings,
look at
right?
that, look at with kings, look at with kings.
We're nervous without a, cause obviously the calling range is so chock full of flush draws.
Yeah, and so he had king with no club. So had he played it right, he wouldn't have lost the extra bets against this pair of kings had the kings played GTO. But if the kings jam here,
Let's king's jam. Our jacks are supposed to get out of dodge unless
do a
you
lot of
got
folding.
jack
Right.
straight. What if
So-
we choose to check here with our kings, like you're supposed to? What are you supposed to?
No, that's perfect. The jacks check and you check behind and you lose, but you
Yeah.
don't lose that extra bet. That's why we thought the check raise on the turn was bad, and it was. It was really bad.
Yeah.
It was bad in theory. It was bad in practice. It was bad in logic.
So he checked here. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And we understand why he did it.
Does he have any check? So he's only checking, it's pretty close to jacks, right? He's just.
Yeah.
You know. Needs one. Click off.
But do notice that the queens only do it without a club.
That's important.
Yeah.
I guess we want to unblock calls.
Huh?
That's the only thing I could think of.
Yep.
Alright, so, I'm gonna pass it back. to you.
Okay. Here we go.
Stop sharing.
Okay. There we go.
Hey,
Play.
Skate.
Hey, skate. Next hand is skates, I believe. Yes. All right, here we go. Let's see if this is a new hand. This is a new hand. All right, skate, you're up.
All right, let's open nines and get 3-bet by the ace king in the big blind.
All right, let's do, oop, first let's have that go wrong. Then we get 3-bet. All right, let me get this out of the way. Okay. The 3-bet.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah,
you
I
want to
don't-
do now?
Yeah, I don't mind the sizing with the ace king at this depth.
Okay.
With nines, I think we are too far down the pairs to 4-bet, so let's call.
Hmm.
We could set mine. Yep. Oh, we had the 6-7 there in the middle. Yeah, they shouldn't have even called in the first place with this stack depth. So let's fold. I imagine they're gonna.
No, they got it.
Okay. Okay, I imagine ace king is gonna bet. You know, they do have a backdoor. So I imagine they're gonna go somewhere, maybe like 10 or 14 plus, maybe.
Oh, they go for the check.
Okay, they're still gonna check some over pairs here, so nine should check some portion, check mostly, but sometimes maybe even. I'm not sure. Maybe even bet. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yep. So here's one heuristic here, which is when you have got the pair directly below the top card, you do a lot of checking. That is the definition of marginally made.
Yeah, I didn't see
So-
that now. I'm on the bus. I'm kind of distracted.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yep,
you're right.
so- But if he bets to try to, put some pressure on on what this guy's range, his specific range of a lot of Broadway cards, it wouldn't be the worst thing. He does have the 9 of clubs.
Yeah,
But-
that's what I'm saying. Like if he
But I think
says,
this is-
"Oh, this guy is gonna bet all his pairs and check back all his ace king, etc.,
Yeah.
then I do see merit for betting. But yeah, you're right.
Yep,
I
exactly.
check mostly.
Good. All right, we're gonna finally see a bluff. Finally, a bluff.
Yeah, because when check, there should be some bluffing, and if he is gonna bluff, he has to follow it up on the river, especially, and not small. So let's see what he does.
He's gonna
Okay.
check raise.
Yeah,
Is what's gonna
gave up.
happen.
Yep.
Right. Now the nines are perfectly free to bet, and they have a good reason to bet now.
Yeah, I feel like all the ace tens, kings, anything with a 10 in it would have bet already. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, what size?
Somewhere around half pot.
Okay, I'm gonna go 20 here, but half pot's good. because of the two. I'm gonna go 20 because of the two flush draws on the board.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, but he goes half pot, great. And this is our first check raise bluff we've seen with a ton of fucking equity, but it is a bluff. So now we've seen it.
It's a tough spot here, so I mean we can see the cards, right? So but
Tough spot for nines.
yeah, because of that 10, I lean more towards the fold, huh?
Yeah,
But yeah, I think he's gonna fold.
yeah. I think in game that we can safely fold these nines here and be beaten by this bluff with a lot of equity, given what
Hmm.
we've seen so far. He doesn't?
Calls. Okay, not a good river card, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna bet and then 9's gonna fold, maybe.
He just jams, yeah. And the nines don't fold. They've decided that.
Yeah, because they're gonna match all their
Yeah.
bluffs with shove. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
So, yeah. Yeah, so I think for us, the thing to learn from this, from what we've learned so far, is this is a good fold right here, even though we had the best hand.
Yeah, I
we don't
mean,
very often here.
yeah, I think I mean I kind of like the way Ace King played it, like looking back, because he's out of position. Yeah, he could bet the turn, but I do like that check raise on the
Yeah.
turn.
Yep.
So
There we go. All right, up next is, let's see, the last one was Richie, so I think we're on Fish. Richie, did you do one recently? I don't know. I think we're on, I think
Yeah, I was just before
Okay.
skate.
okay, then we're on fish cakes.
Okay, 9-8 can open, and then ace-4 can 3-bet. Oh, cool, true. And then queen 10 off should fold, and jack 10 off I would probably fold too.
All right.
Okay.
This is the $25 game. This is a long time ago. I didn't know how to play. I didn't know. I
Call
didn't
is fine.
before.
Yeah, call is fine.
Oh
And
my
then this is a very interesting flop.
Holy
It
God, this is an interesting flop.
It should just go check for sure, and to the razor, but then like on this kind of board, like generally I would multi-way as like cut off versus these ranges. You should probably like play an insane amount of checks. I think there's only really a merit like if you're playing like a weak table with which I mean potentially the small blind and the big blind are, and then you can maybe like fast play like value hands, but it is how high up is 9-8 really in reality on a three straight board.
Quick
Directly
question for you
feeds straight
guys
into
here.
Jack 10, into the hand. Yeah.
It's not going to be as high. I mean, it also depends how wide you think the button but not button, the big blind and small blind. I guess also the button are like how are they going to have like just suited combos of straights, or will they have like some offsuit combos too? Because that will change things a lot as well.
Larry, what did you say?
So when I look at this board, and I'm curious if you guys kind of feel the same way, when I see these middle connected boards like this, so like a 9-10 jack, I just think that they just connect very well with flatting ranges.
They do.
For sure.
And so I get particularly nervous around these kinds of textures,
Mhm.
multi-way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think 9-8 is not as strong as it looks. So I mean, to be fair, you should even just like theoretically, you should just be incredibly cautious with like cut off her in the first place.
Yeah, I
By
agree.
incredibly cautious, do you mean you bet 4 and
I mean, you just check like a
Check.
lot, or bet like a really small. Oh, I really hate that.
Yeah.
This is already pretty much turning our hand into like marginal.
Yeah, this is, yeah. I mean,
Right,
even in
ace-
theory, you don't get big bets on flop multi-way.
yeah.
Ace full clubs. This is, yeah. I mean, versus this size bet, and the fact that you have two short stacks as well, don't think you have to continue this at all because you don't have as good implied odds versus the big bet. Yeah, so
This is a weird spot with ace four
Yeah.
suited.
I do have enough implied odds. I do have enough implied odds against 547 to call though.
okay, but yeah,
You know, I'm almost getting the express odds. No, I'm not getting the express odds for now.
But you're close.
yeah, it's like close. So
Yeah.
close, really fine. And then queen 10, you just fold for sure.
It is up and down, but he does.
I don't know. So you also have like some your odds like also not as clean as well because it's likely that clubs there's a decent chance that someone has a flush draw among these players too.
Yeah.
So it's not great. And then Jack 10, you probably just call. Yeah.
So are you calling out of slow play? Or are you
Well,
calling
maybe I don't
because
know
you know your
actually.
hand should be vulnerable
Yeah,
this
maybe you just
massively
can't-
multi-way?
He's slow
yeah.
playing.
Maybe
I mean, you're not gonna, because he's not gonna get away from his straight. I mean, the only way he's getting away from his straight is if the flush comes and it goes bet, raise, re-raise.
It's just like super face up when you raise, but like maybe you just raise anyway. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm kind of curious here because this
You
multi-way,
probably just
I wonder. Yes, you're right, it is face up, Scotty, but I wonder if you benefit from protection when you're this multi-way. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong. Maybe you just slow play it. I'm
and
not
also
sure.
9-8 being like when like a like short stack player does just like bet really big here, it's really likely they just have a hand that they want to get stacks in with and want to avoid like bad turns and rivers. So you can kind of just help them do that, and then they'll like I feel like you have very like you're gonna have very low fold equity against 5-4-7 if you have Jack like as the big blind here.
Yeah, I almost want to say that this hand is vulnerable in this massively multi-way. And
Yeah.
also, I think that your concern needs to be that when you just call and you're playing out of position, it's very hard for the original aggressor to bet again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
He
right.
gets
yeah.
4 calls.
Yep,
I
exactly.
kind of lean towards a fast play here because of
No,
those
yeah.
reasons.
I agree
like
no,
the
actually. Yeah.
I like the fast play better.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think there is some vulnerability here, this massively
Yeah.
multi-way.
Also, you should expect, like, would not maybe expect, but you should get some folds from low, like, I mean, from flush draws, especially low ones should definitely be folding. I mean,
Yeah.
you probably so
I'm not,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this is really complex spot. I'm not totally sure, but I think I like a fast play here.
yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's see
But
what
he
happens.
calls.
He calls, okay.
Please have the turn not be the 9 of clubs. That's all I ask. I don't care what it is. Just not the 9 of clubs. Well, that's
Mm.
bad too.
But you know, top pair is like basically a high card. Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to know.
Let's see what happens.
It's pretty relevant. Okay,
All right.
this is just turning your hand into. I mean, depending on the pool, but like in theory, this is definitely just turning your hand into a big overreach.
Yeah, but not a
like,
bluff.
This is way, yeah, it's not a bluff. It's just
he doesn't bluff
an error basically.
I think of this as a merge, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
someone who, it's a merge because it's like, well, a merge really is when you don't know if you're value betting or bluffing. Maybe this isn't a merge.
Yeah,
There's
but,
maybe a simple overvalue of equity.
yeah, he's just overwhelming his hand. I think it's just the case. A lot of like you'll see a lot at low stakes where people on like boards with like straights and flushes will just overvalue like things like 2 pair or like top pair, top kicker and stuff like that. So
So I don't know that I hate this. Because if he's gonna, okay, so let's say it gets around to here. And I jam. Does he fold his 2 pair if I jam? Now, obviously, if I jam and he gets 2 calls behind, he needs to fold.
I
But if he
think,
doesn't think he's
yeah,
folding.
you can. I think you can like
Oh, ow,
fold.
Scotty, no, no, Scotty, no.
But
But
oh
when this
dear.
guy check raises now, I'm gonna call him.
Yeah, you pretty much have to. No,
Yeah, I
got
have to
any
call
jams,
for
yeah.
this.
You see what your pot odds are.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't,
you,
Can we see what your
you-
pot odds are?
Yeah.
After he jams 9-8, what does 9-8 do? Oh,
9-8's
he's
all
only
in.
in. So your pot odds are 17-13. Yeah, you got the odds to call.
I know. My mistake was calling that. That's what my
Mhm.
mistake was.
It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to, I mean, it's kind of hard to fold top pair.
Top
not
pair
flush
with
draw.
It's just
With a-
you know that like
nut flush draw.
yeah, it's hard, but
Well,
Yeah.
I guess you just gotta take a long time and think about the fact that there's no bluffs in 9-8 range. He's got some kind of value.
Yeah.
And I would
There'll
usually
be-
put him on a set.
the one way I could see this is if like the cutoff player is super wide and you expect him to just like fast play all of his flush draws like this too, and then
Yeah,
you kind
yeah.
of just have to call.
Yeah, because I beat
Um,
I outdraw every flush draw and I beat every flush draw also.
Yeah. You're like only losing to like a flush draw with a 9, and that's it.
No, I'm not even losing to that. That's
Yeah,
my,
you're not even losing, yeah. But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I have I have the best draw with the flush draws, and I have the best pair against any flush draw.
mhm.
So I crush all of the combo draws. I just lose to the Jack 10.
I think it's just a bit like it kind of depends, just like how like seriously people are respecting the multi-way spot. Like
Yeah.
the when everyone else is loose and like uncaring, then these like mistakes aren't as big, right? Because everyone else is also crazy wide.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they're not still something that could be like improved.
All right. We've done this one hand already, I believe. Yep, that's the sequence. Okay. So those were all of those. Now we're going to do one more change. So those were just the biggest check raises on the turn that we found. We're going to continue looking at check raises on the turn, but we're going to change the filter a little bit. We're going to make them not multi-way. So we're going to have the number of players seeing the flop is 2. And the way we do that is under actions and opportunities on the flop, saw flop on. That's not what I want. How many, where's my, how many players saw the flop?
It's under hand details, I think, Scotty.
So hand details, let's try that. Yep, there we go. Good. Maximum pre-flop raises, I don't care about that. Pre-flop limping that occurred, I don't care about that. Number of players, do I have a seeing flop? Yep, number of players seeing the flop. Exactly 2. So here we go, add this to the filter. And now we have heads up, check raises on the flop. Save and apply filters. There they are. And now a few of these we may have seen because they were giant, but we'll just go in order from the most recent ones. There we go. So ace deuce is our most recent one. Replay hands. Oh, heads up. There we go. All right, and this is me coming up. So 4-5 should raise. Ace deuce against the button should be folding. He doesn't.
In heads up, really?
Heads up, probably not. No, I was thinking of regular button, yeah, with a small blind in there. So no, yeah, I don't know. I don't know heads up. So let's assume that he should call.
Yeah, it's a call.
Right. He flops bottom pair. He should check. I should check my flush draw. I should bet my flush draw. I do. He should call with his bottom pair. When the 9 comes, that's good for me. I still have flush draw. I can continue to bet. I bet. He raises. This is our first bluff we've seen. And this bluff is heads up, so maybe that's an exception because heads up is something different. I call with my flush draw. And now I lose. He bets and I lose. Okay.
Notice he
Richie-
sized down on his bluff, and that's important to see.
On the river or,
On the river, sized down on his size, and he didn't, he's probably a good player, didn't need to use, he's essentially claiming a 9, claiming
Yeah.
chips here. And so
Why
he used a very aggressive check raise size, and then he sizes down here.
right. And then he only bets 21.
Yeah, this is kind of Hungry Horse likes to talk about this sizing on river for bluff.
Yeah. And if I had sussed this out, it would have worked.
Yeah, I mean, your only option is to shove, I guess, but
Right. But it would have worked if I'd sussed it out and I didn't.
yeah, I mean, this is kind of advanced play.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Larry, you're up.
Okay, it should fold around to ace 10. This is a situation where we can't really comprehend as thinking players how this hand continues. He should fold around and he should take it, but he's not. Yes. So ace 3 is gonna make a very bad call. 6 should fold. So 147 should check. Ace 10 likes this dry king high flop. I would B50 or B60 here. Now, ace 3 is going to do something funky. Ace 3 should fold. Well, he's got this backdoor over and backdoor on a very dry texture. He's facing a big size. He just fold.
Yeah. He needs at least 3 things and he has 2 things.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. I
Yeah.
heard you mention that before. It's good.
He needs at
And
least
so,
3 things.
so I guess the argument is that. So let's go back for a second, just so I can kind of cement your thinking here. So I've heard you use the term before. So you should really have 2 back doors and an over. That would be enough for a check raise. You understand?
That would be enough to consider it. Then he has to
Alright.
look at the size.
Yeah, especially considering the size.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really poor call. I mean, this is like, well, let's look at pot yet. He's being offered 27%, and he has 18%. We can just see it right here. It's really bad.
Mhm.
So whatever. We're in La La Land. We might see a check raise on the river. So ace should check, ace 10. So ace 10 used a big size here, and he got a call. But he turned equity.
Mhm.
This feels very player dependent. I have a tendency to check here. I think that might be a little bit too passive. But I would think of my ace 3 as being a filtering bet.
Mhm.
And so I would check here and having a sliver of showdown. So I would check here a lot. I
Yeah.
don't
So
know if
you would,
that's a
you would
mistake or
check you would check to realize your ace and your queen.
not. Yeah, when
And the fact that if it goes check, check, maybe you beat.
maybe, well,
yeah.
on this texture, I don't really beat much. I mean,
You
this
don't beat
texture
any.
doesn't really have any draws available. But he's gonna make a gangster play here. This is very way gangster, and it's gonna work.
And it's allowed. I mean, he got you when you bet a back door and it comes in, that's one of the reasons you continue. And this is our first true bluff.
Yeah, this is a low bluff. And it's gonna work.
No, it's not. Oh my.
This guy's very, very stubborn.
Yeah. Has this guy been playing nutsy so far?
Yeah, maybe he knows, maybe he's onto this guy. So now he should shove and claiming essentially a set.
Now it's gonna work.
Gotta work now, right?
All right. So
Mike, what did you put in chat?
Oh, just the heads up calling range and ace 2 off is a fold.
Oh, okay, got it.
But that's 2 or 3x open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at starts for 2.5x from a different site.
his side, oh, it was 2.5x. My open was 2.5.
No,
Yeah.
yours was 3.
Oh, I went to 3. So there you go.
Yeah, you're right. He should fold. Okay.
All right, so here's our first real bluff. Let's see how
Yeah.
many we see.
Goes
right.
to the maniac.
All right, Mike, you are up.
Okay. Where's the button? Button's down on Jack Deuce. Okay, so King Jack open. Queen 10 defend by 3-betting or calling. Most likely gonna call here.
Turn off this. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So Queen 10 should check. King Jack is
Oh,
gonna
fuck.
pretty much not a range bet, but it's going to bet quite frequently and using a small size, which he does. And now he's going to get check raised, which is certainly reasonable from Queen 10. Oh, no. So I guess we're filtered for check raises on the turn. But should he check raise the flop? I would say, yeah, probably at whatever frequency he does it at. But he smooth calls, checks. Now, King Jack uses a big size. Yeah, don't know if that's super appropriate on a paired board like this, but maybe it's fine. I don't know that I would. And King Jack in particular might even get to check back at some decent frequency as well. But he
Hope
is a
it's
big
fine, 'cause
size, so
sadly it's me.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, I hope it's fine, because sadly it's me.
Yeah, I don't know that it's,
It's not
not
good.
good. I just don't know, honestly. I don't think I would use it. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out in my mind why I wouldn't. Because it's a blank and you got smooth called. You're gonna get called by a relatively large group of hands. So it's actually theoretically probably fine. So here comes your check raise, and yeah,
Yep.
probably don't need to check raise as often. He does the little min click. Um, with the min click, I'd probably just pretty much fold everything that I don't
Yeah.
like the King Jack I would fold.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
I am curious about strategy here and bet sizing on the turn.
Okay, why don't you look that one up, Larry, and we'll go to the next hand. So it's 3 queen queen rainbow, hijack versus big blind. All right. Up
All right.
next after Mike is Richie.
Okay. So let's go to King 10. And then, yeah, that seems reasonable. 4 jacks with 3 big blind open. I'm not sure. I think it might be on the mixing of falling and folding. I would probably fold it. But yeah, so
It's
jack
a
four
fold, but
four.
it's a fold, but it's close and they're deeper, which makes suited hands go up in value, but suited jacks not so much.
Okay.
I think it's a mistake, but
Yeah,
not
if it was a queen four, it would be a full run. Okay. What is it now then? So out position, big blind jacks. King 10. I'm not actually sure if this is more of a check for them or a bet, because obviously big blind can have more aces than they could. So but 8-9s could hit them quite well, couldn't it? So I guess it could be a mixture. I think I would check this board. But if you are going to bet, go smaller size.
Yep, you can bet this a small size. Here are the three, in our 3 things, here you have backdoor flush, backdoor straight, and 2 overs to
Yeah.
the 9. Those are 3 things. So,
All right.
but he
Okay.
checks, that's not bad. Yeah.
So yeah, they both check, so it goes to the next card. So now gotta start getting ready. Okay. So now I don't think it's unreasonable for the small blind to lead here, right? For a small size maybe. But checking isn't terrible either to try and induce someone to bet.
Yep.
But you know, they were quite passive on the flop. They might also continue that passive action then more than their aggressive action, I would say. So but now king tens, obviously they've got the flush backdoor, well, draw now. So they might want to start betting here, but again, not the end of the world to check it if you've already checked behind. So yeah, they bet small, well, half pot, but Jack 4 now. I don't think it's unreasonable, right? You know, it's obviously someone with a king, queen, ace is probably going to call this bet. But if obviously then they go over the top of you, you might be slightly concerned. But yeah, I think that's fair. The king 10, oh, you would be questioning if your 10 would be good if you were to call this purely for the flush draw. I think you just fold it, really.
Yeah. Oh, no, he didn't. I think this is an easy fold.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's that. And then Jack 4 now, I would probably say size is quite big here because the likelihood is they have the better hand because the fourth one didn't come in. And you're aiming to get called by aces, I guess, by the straights. Oh no, there's there straight has
There's a one card straight.
Yeah. So yeah, I would size reasonably big here. I would probably minimum you want to go 75, somewhere between 75 to 150. If you went 150 pot, what would you be looking at? That would be 36 blinds, half 18, 54-ish. That's actually still quite small in it. Yeah, I think I'd be favoring about the 50 big blinds here. 55. And then this person obviously just folds, right? But I think 150 is the right one here, right? If someone shoves over you, you start getting a bit concerned. Do you have the better one?
You might have to fold too. If you bet over pot and they jam on you, I think you need to fold the jack high flush here.
So with this small sizing, you're hoping someone's going to go over the top of you with a weaker, but what's weaker going to go over the top of you, right? Because there's an 8-9 on the board. So you're hoping what, a 10? And then obviously you've got the 6, 7, and anything lower. I personally, I don't know if it's the right, if you agree or not. I like, since the pot is so small, I like going for over pot on this. You know, getting the 50 big blinds. You know, around the 150 bet size, which is actually about 55, more than 50 blinds.
Yeah.
Do you
So
agree or not?
So I would, if I was going for the bigger size, I would go not to 50, I would go to 41. And the reason is, if I get jammed over, I want to make sure that the jam is big enough that I don't look at it after the fact and go, oh, well, now I need to call. Like I wouldn't want to go to 90, get jammed on for 153 and go, okay, I'm going to fold. Well, no, I'm not, and change my mind. You know how that happens?
Yeah, I get you. The reason I chose 50 was these were quite both deep, and I looked at both stacks taking away. Well, you're 50, you're at what, leave 1-4 behind. 50 off them is 80 over, and I thought if they shove over, right, they're putting in the 123, which means I basically have to call, well, 75, about 75 more than 80, so close to 70 big blind. I felt I personally could fold for that, but
good. Then you're fine. Yeah. And then the reason he goes 26 is not because he wants to bet small. And then if he gets raised, he can call happily. He's betting small because he's trying to get called by an ace or a 7.
Yeah. I think the 7 would call bigger. The ace probably won't because there's the flush and the straight, right? But
yeah,
I think the 7 would probably call bigger than this. So I think they're just targeting aces here, probably.
Right. So with that size bet, he's targeting the ace. Okay, good enough.
Did you want to see that hand?
Yes, we are ready.
Is it the trick queens?
Yes.
Okay, so the first question, so first thing I thought was interesting is that against the cutoff open, we're already indifferent with queens.
Mhm.
It's just a shitty hand this deep.
Yep.
This rig. We don't have any donks. Let's see who has more. Curious who has more pips. Might have a jump ball. But obviously, I think, yeah, cutoff's gonna have better kickers. Okay, so we check pure. Since we have a little bit of a range advantage here, kicker advantage, we're betting often and small, which I think we did in the game.
Yep.
Question is, do we fast play? Let's look at all our trips. So what's interesting to me is that we don't really care about our kicker. There's only one queen left in the deck. We just don't care. We're just like, I don't really see, maybe we're like fast playing ace queen off a little bit more, but not that much. So we've got check raises across our entire range. So like, this is like check raising 58% versus check raising 24%. I guess there's some difference, not that much.
If you look at how wide the cutoff will call this, you'll see it starts to make sense. Because they should have to defend this like a crazy amount of hands that you probably
Our check
would.
raise?
Yeah, if big blind check raises,
Yeah, maybe you're right, because look, we have a very high check raise frequency on this paired
Yeah.
board. Just, well,
So
we'll
the-
go down that line, that part of the tree real quick, and then we'll come back. And we're
We have
always
to,
check
like,
raising small too.
yeah, on the paired board it's always small. And look
And
how
yeah,
wide
yeah.
they defend. It's
That's
like
right.
it's all for value.
So,
In this
I
case,
mean,
small is 2.5, right?
say it again.
A small check raise is 2.5 his bet.
It is about it's about 3.5.
Wait, he raised,
There's a bet to 1.8.
oh,
and he
oh,
raised-
I got the wrong one. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, 3. So it's not a tiny small. It's not a tiny.
So,
it's okay.
fish cakes, do you think we can overfold in reality? Against
So were we the cutoff here?
If we were in position, could we overfold?
Yeah, I think generally on these board, if you look at the big blinds range, that they check raise with, not only do they have a lot of like pairs that are check raising too, they will also have some like trashy backdoor hands
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
Like king jack is raising, and lots of these a6 ace highs are
Yeah,
raising with like
that's
no
a good
draw.
point.
People just don't find these. And
and
so
also these underpairs essentially turning into into bluffs.
and then you have like you can see the 6-5, 6-4, 5-4, all with like backdoors probably, like with the backdoor straight.
Yeah, it's
backdoor
got
flush
double
draw.
backdoor. Yeah,
And people just don't find them.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, if I find these in the game, I feel like a stud. I
yeah,
don't find it.
but
Don't have to
like
worry about
I think another important thing to take away from this is, especially against regs on paired boards, and even more so if it pairs the low card, like if this is queen 3-3, check raising small, like even if you like click it back, not even 50%, but click it back, they'll have such a hard time defending from it. Like no one is ever going to be calling king jack here, which you have to do
Right.
at some point. Like
So
no
your
one just
argument is that on like a queen 3-3 board, the click, essentially, this click back check raise is quite powerful.
Yeah, even queen 3-2, but like queen 3-3 will be even better because they'll be weaker, even weaker there.
And that does correlate with what Mike and I saw a couple weeks ago when we were doing check raises. We saw a lot of people turning their underpairs into check raises, into essentially low equity check raise bluffs.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Which I wasn't expecting because I wasn't really tuned into that. So you're right. Yeah, this is
Yeah, there's no way people call enough, like calling like loads of ace high hands, like calling king 9, right? Was it?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
supposed to
no,
call
no
super
one,
wide.
no one does that. Like, and if you go smaller, people have to call even more.
Yeah.
So let's
Like,
just dive into this a little bit more. So we bet 25%. In theory, MDF to 25% bet is 80%. And they're coming close. They're still all overfolding versus
they'll still
MDF,
probably overfold because your bluffs have equity, unlike MDF like expects, but because it's like on the flop. But even still, people are just not going to call this wide. You'll get massive overfolds. All of the bluffs will make so much
Yeah,
money. Like
yeah.
if you did have like a Pio solver or elite, and you node locked button, the big blind, sorry, to fold, cut off, sorry, to fold these like high card floats, then all of the bluffs would just start going crazy. Maybe even hands
Yeah.
like 7-5, 8-6, 9-6 will just start raising pure.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I see your point.
but like you to simplify it, you can just take all of these indifferent hands, like 6-5 that raise sometimes, and just raise them always.
Right.
And
So
then
maybe
even
tomorrow.
if they
Oh, go
look in a even if they look in a solver, they'll like see, oh, 6-5 is meant to raise sometimes, so this guy's not exploiting me. But in reality, you do it every time. So they'll never know, and you'll
So
just keep.
maybe tomorrow we should work on playing big blind on the low paired board and look at check raises. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so in game, you get a call.
Perfectly fine to do.
And then it's a 7 of spades.
Yep. Now watch me misplay the king jack.
It's interesting to get a lot of donks here. So check. And then what are you supposed to do with king jack? You
Oh,
continue to get to go for it.
all right. Let me see what the
You've got a
suit.
trips advantage, I would assume. You had a little bit of trips advantage before. You have less of a trips advantage now, so let's use that like the. Yeah, you still have this interesting trips advantage even when you get a bet call at a small size. I guess this small size isn't very filtering to his check call range.
It's because he raised so many of his top pairs, right?
Yeah, because it was such an aggressive check raise strategy.
So let's roll over that king jack off suit real quick
Sure.
and just look at my suits were jack of hearts, king of spades.
It's a very good check raise.
Hey,
Not very good bet.
all right. I lost my money in the right order. You're not supposed to do this, by the way. Bill Guffman said your exact thing of going, don't use the solvers to say, to go, oh, if you matched it, you did fine and feel better about it. But there's so little reasons for
We
me.
all need affirmation in this game of mystery, don't we?
I'm short
Yeah.
and I'm bald and I'm getting old and I don't even have all my original teeth. Let me have this king.
I respect looking for comfort in the solver. I do it too.
So what size did you use? Like a B75?
I went B75, I believe. Let's see.
So
Nine,
now do our
I get
queen split down the
B75.
hammer. So this is interesting. So when you're taking a polarizing line, our trips just do not want you to stop.
Yeah, he let me get out of it. That's one of the things that Mark Goons talks about which is that the reason that bluffing is so good is that your opponents, when they have you beat, don't let you continue bluffing.
Yeah. Yeah. Your opponents let you know.
Yeah.
And so this is a very hard check raise to resist.
Yep.
Maybe we can resist it if we have a rainbow non-flush board here. But let's just look at he had like queen 10. Let's just look at the EV difference.
I think your king jack is also a very nice bet just because of how much they're going to still call under pairs. Like you have like good equity against a lot of the calling range still.
And one of the things I did look at was I said I blocked the queen hard.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah. Especially because of the Aussie combos, especially. Yeah.
He still
I
had
like it
one.
a lot. Yeah.
No, what's interesting here is that we don't have the threes anymore because we checked that he's that pure on flop. Unblocking his impositions trip queens. And now if we actually we luck boxed and turned a vote, we are fast playing.
Right,
Yeah.
because that unblocks all of my queens.
Yeah, exactly. So, just to see what we're supposed to. So, I mean, this is pretty obvious. I'm curious what if you're supposed to continue.
I
I'm
think
gonna give
you
him.
probably do, you know.
I'm gonna give him a. What's a surprise? Let's give it a surprise river
I
of
bet
7.
I bet it does like buffer a
That's
lot
gonna
with
change
king
too
jack.
much. Let's give a surprise river of 2 is fade.
Yeah.
So you check. What are you supposed to? Where are your
Uh,
bluffs coming from now?
I think it's king jack still, right?
Jack,
King
he-
Jack. Yeah,
he
King
let
Jack
me-
is good blockers. You're right.
he let me
Yeah.
off the hook.
He let you off the hook. He let you know where you were.
Yeah,
Yeah. And also, you would rather have like these high cards here because if you look, I guess if you look at the folding range, then it's all of the pairs that start to fold now.
right.
After you do bet with like whatever size the solver wants with the
All the
cutoff.
pairs out of position.
Yeah, like I think that all of the under pairs for big blind will start to fold when we do like a bet like 4 cutoff. If you
So
go
I'm
to
a
the
common bet size is like a B84.
yeah.
And now, yeah, now we're indifferent.
Yeah, so like it makes sense that you don't want to like block those. I mean, it looks like Ace Jack is still there too, but I guess it kind of cancels out with the fact that they have Queen Jack offsuit and King Queen, so it works. You want to you want to let like those hands forward.
So I assume that with our trips, we are not check raising here because except for the ace queen, which can kick you, you have nothing that can call.
Yeah.
And so because of that, there's no reason for us to check raise because there's nothing for you to.
What's the equity of a hand like Queen 10?
$1 million.
I don't think it would be super high, right?
No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's surprisingly
Oh,
low
Against my
after this
range.
line.
Yeah, after like the triple barrel with
Oh,
like, with the big
okay, not
sizes.
on the turn.
No,
Not-
yeah, on the river, yeah.
Right.
After the triple barrel, yeah, you're just like,
Only
You're
ace
never
queen that
folding?
also raise.
but it's just not good enough. Except for the ace queen, which you got here with at some very low frequency.
Yeah.
And then Larry, if you could explore, change the 7 on the turn to something that brings in a flush draw. Like, so we've got a rainbow board on the turn, make it a diamond, club, or a heart. And I'm curious how that changes any check raising strategies or bet sizing strategies. I think you want to bet, I think like Scotty, big bet is really good now, right? I'm curious that it's better when there's a flush draw available.
By the way, that was my porn name,
What?
Scotty Big Bet.
Well, you
Yeah,
do
so go
live
to
in
turn.
California. I mean, it is like the largest industry, right? So what's it? It's
So
interesting
go to
here
the
that like,
turn.
I'm just curious. I just am taking pause, if you would. Where am I right now? I'm in the wrong spot. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so check. Now our bet size goes down, right?
I think the frequency of the bigger bet
it's
went up.
more, yeah.
Okay. And this is what you want to see, right?
Yeah, yep. So that did change. Now, does our check raising, no, we still don't check raise. I was curious if a flush
Yeah.
draw available makes check raising more viable or not, but no, it
Because
doesn't.
because we want protection. Or because imposition has more than they can call.
Yeah, I thought it might change, but it doesn't.
Yeah, I see your point. Okay.
I think they just had the cutoff probably just has too many like offsuit like combos of king queen and queen jack and ace queen.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to see? Or shall we move on?
We shall move on.
All right. Passing it back to you, boss.
Magic move on button. There we go. All right. Who gets pocket queens? Who's next? I don't know, so I'm gonna say it's fish cakes.
Okay. Let's raise pocket queens.
Yep. Do that.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's a post as well. Interesting. And then a check for suited raises under the gun. Okay, very cool. Oh, God, I don't know. No, already we're into rogue territory. Probably like raise to 8x.
9.5.
Blinds. Yeah,
9.5.
yeah, that's nice.
I like it.
Yeah. I don't have a fixed sizing here. I kind of just go from field and fold and easy win.
Yeah, that should be.
Okay.
Jeez.
All right. I don't know. Am I going into this and assuming I know that villain 13 is a
No, start
massive
with
like
start with what what should happen. We always start with what we believe, what we would do in that situation, even if we wouldn't be in that situation. What's the best play to make? And then say think they're going to do based on what you know about them. And
I was asking more in terms of like what when I'm the player with the queens, like what am I interpreting villain 13 to be like?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you think? Yeah. You want to do all that.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
No,
I mean,
true on this hand.
Well, I check the villain 13. I'm not going to guess what he does. It's futile. And then queens, I would just like see that.
What size do you like?
I don't think it matters too much. I think I would go naturally. I would just bet like anything from like 33 to like 50 here, probably.
Yep, I like it. Ooh,
I don't like their check
that is
so much. Check turn, and then I mean this is again, I don't really want to suggest what to do with the king 4 here because it's just not too useful. And it's kind of like a leveling thing. So we'll just see. And then queens, again, I mean, as played now, I would bet for sure. Yeah, half pot seems fine. And then you get min clicked, which is nasty. But I think you just call like still there's no way folding ever here against a recreation. If you know this guy's like a crazy recreational with wide ranges, then you just like call for sure. And then river.
Yeah. So the one thing that from on the king's in the king's mind that is reasonable is for the king to say he doesn't check back any jacks. That's not true in all cases because this guy checked back queens, but it's not a random play by him that he doesn't check back any jacks.
As the player with queens, there's no way we know like how much this guy does or doesn't so play.
No, I'm talking king 4. In king 4's mind, when he decides to raise this turn, this bluff, this zero equity kind of bluff, the one thing that in his mind that I think is not a bad piece of poker logic is that he says, my opponents don't check very many jacks here. They don't check them back. Therefore, don't check back a lot of aces, kings, or queens. Therefore, they have a lot of ace, king, and ace, queen here.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like the logic kind of works out. But it falls apart when the queen's player knows how wide this guy's range is and then how much he's probably going to be over bluffing. Yeah. Because it's going to be impossible to manage this, and then you just jam.
Really, you don't call?
We have a full house, right?
I know we have a full house, but
you get called by this kind of player is going to call you with flushes. He's going to call you with low pairs. You just jam. Okay. I'm not scared of a jack.
Okay, and then again, it's only 38 more big blinds. So
if you're not jamming here, you're losing out on so much money versus like recreational players.
Okay,
you get called by way worse hands than queens.
Okay, now what if the guy's deeper? What if there's no...
I would jam up to like our entire stack.
Okay,
it's just like yeah. you're gonna get called enough by worse hands. And when you think about the combos of Jack X, when there's 3 on the board, there's so like few compared to flushes that are still going to call you. Like these kind of players will still call you with flushes just because they have a flush and they just can't find the fold button. And if they have a full house, again, even more so. This guy has a full house. I'm never going to fold, you know?
Right.
So you just jam and sometimes you will face pain and lose to a jack after you jam, but then you're going to make it up and more some when you just stack them for extra.
When you
Like
stack,
yeah,
when
like
you stack their ace five and they're
wait,
7-7.
like all of the underpairs, right?
Right.
Tens, nines,
And
eights,
flushes.
a 5x, maybe even a 3x, like flushes, like there'll be so
Okay.
much stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like when if it's a reg, it's very, very different. But
Yeah.
when it's just when it's someone this wide who will call you with so much because they don't really understand relative hand strength, you can exploit that.
Right. Well, certainly we have this much information on him right here from the beginning. The
Yeah,
king
post plus limp.
posted and then just called this. So
Oh
we,
yeah, cool, yeah.
yeah. So we
And then close 3
opinion
bet,
about
yeah.
we have an opinion about his skill level already. Okay.
Yeah, I think you just send it. Sometimes you're gonna lose and it's painful, but then you're gonna thank yourself when you do stack like 9s for an extra 100 big blinds.
So with your argument, I think your argument is totally valid. I don't know if I agree with it yet, but you've made it very clearly, and I certainly don't think it's wrong. I just don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, here we go. I've got king queen. I'm going to open it. The ace jack, in the hijack versus this. The ace jack. This can do some folding and some 3-betting. And if you have a calling range, I think this is not a good hand to do it with. I don't think this is a good call here, even if you have a calling range in the.
I agree.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think,
Right.
I think the suited version is a different story, but unsuited, no.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
and
a
he,
3
look at him. Wow.
Wait, what was
Holy
the
shit.
question? What was the question? Whether ace jack should call here?
Yeah, I thought ace jack was going to call here.
Oh, you mean just because of the players?
That's what just because we see it
Oh,
so
well, yeah, we don't have to. Yeah, again, we're just getting the minds of we don't need to worry
right.
about.
Yeah. So I think we should that we should be raising ace jack here. We should be 3-betting ace jack here a little bit, not pure. Again, in this position and never calling it. That's what I think we should do.
Agreed.
And he folds it. Good for him. 7-7 in the small blind. If you have a calling range in the small blind, 7-7 is a fine hand to do it with. If you have one, he does. Ace 6 should fold. Good for them. Look at them play right. Oh, is there going to be a 7 on the turn? There's going to be a 7 on the turn. Right. He checks. He checks. I bet this board is dry and it is not dynamic for me because a king is good for me. The only thing bad for me is an ace. And it's rainbow. So I can bet here and I don't have to bet big. I can do whatever I want. I bet small. He has to call with his 7. All right, here's the bluff. We're seeing bluffs. So he checks. I can continue to bet. And I can size up. I do. He goes for raise. I should now be very unhappy. And if I was playing with what we believed our exploitative matrix to be, is I would fold, but now I'm not as confident, and so I don't. And with the 8, now he's going to get me. I'm going to have to fold top pair to this jam.
This guy's ruthless.
What?
This small blind player is ruthless.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to fold it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very aggressive play from him.
Yeah.
Skewy.
Can you go back for a second?
Yeah.
So let's look at, so pot odds are 36%. He's often on the river, right?
You're looking on the river.
Yeah. So the way I look at this is that, and you guys tell me if I'm cray, but I look at this and I say, okay, I need to call this sometimes. This is a pure bluff catcher. I'm not beating value. But I need to call this sometimes. And so what I do is I invert the pot odds and say, instead of, I'm gonna call here 35% of the time. So I'd roll and call if it was like above a 70, above a 65 or something. Does that make sense to you, or do you think this would just be a pure fold? Not that we can see the cards, but I don't even know if that makes sense. I think maybe we could overfold even more than that.
So
But my
I think,
argument is that, if you have access to a randomizer at some low frequency, I think you should call.
right. So here's my opinion of that, which is, there's a certain percentage. So you get a sense of the percentage, and then you choose a reason other than a random reason. That randomizing your aggressive play makes you hard to play against, but there's no reason to randomize your responses. Your
Okay,
response play.
I think that's valid.
So what you should do with this is you should use, if you're playing live, you should use live reads. You should use anything that you can to make your decision. If you're playing online, think about timing tells, think about anything. But the most important thing is think about what is his aggression factor.
What were the bet sizes this hand? What was the c-bet size we did?
I went 2.5 to start, bet small,
Standard
bet
c-bet.
large, bet very large.
Yeah.
Get raised on a very large bet.
Wow, that's so aggressive.
Yeah,
I think
Very aggressive.
it's borderline spewy, I think.
Yeah, it is few.
Yeah,
Borderline maniac.
but it worked.
Yeah,
Now let's
it's
look
like,
at this though. He is villain 14, right?
We're just
Very-
we're not gonna have a big enough sample size, I don't think, but we
Hold
can look.
on. Wait for
18 hands is.
Let's just see what his crazy, what are his crazy numbers like?
He's
Okay,
only
I
got
got-
18 hands, right?
Yeah, it's just not enough numbers, not enough sample size for an aggression factor. I mean,
No,
feel
it's-
free to look at it, it's
he
just
isn't
not,
doing- right. He has not done anything. This is he's hiding behind you guys is my problem there. Zoom screen. All right, let's look at him now. Here we go. All right. Not crazy aggressive pre-flop.
You just don't have the sample.
Right. I'm just looking for things. He's not playing crazy aggressive. He's bet. Yeah.
Hover over something like
The aggression
flop
frequency is
aggression.
50%. Hover over which?
Like any of these numbers, you have like one sample or two samples.
Yeah. No, I know it's small. I know I've only got 17 hands on him. But I'm saying that in those hands, we do not see anything that cues us in. We don't see anything that cues us in that this is a crazy aggressive player.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is though, like if we don't see anything, but using like the post flop stats when we have like less than 500 hands will like actively like hurt you rather than be better than just randomizing, because it will just be it's going to be just so inaccurate because of the sample size you need. It will mislead you more than anything.
So I think you can look, but I think you can look at this, I believe. You can look at an overall thing of, is this guy doing things that even in 17 hands, has he established himself as an overly aggressive maniacal player? Because overly aggressive maniacal players in 18 hands look overly aggressive and maniacal often.
In what way?
We've seen players who within 18 hands have VPIPs of 84 and 90. We've seen people who have in 18 hands check raised the flop or the turn twice.
Yeah. The important thing is though, in those situations when you've only got like 20 hands, it's going to be like in that like session or on the notes of that player. Like you should have like written it down as a note on the player rather than taking it from the the stats, which can be misleading. But if you wrote a note down like, oh, I saw this hand where they did this thing, then you have like some more of a reason to. But like I would much rather play based on like showdowns that I saw than anything else. Like in 18 hands, someone could just run hot and get like Binker set on the turn twice, and then they look super aggressive, but in reality they're a nit.
Right, I agree with you. We are looking here at where we're not looking at whether we should call or fold in general. We've already decided that we are going to be a mixed frequency here. And Larry said, I'm going to roll for it. And I said, do anything but roll for it. Look at any other piece of information rather than rolling for it.
Mm,
And you're saying that this information here is worse than rolling. And that's what I claim it's not.
yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay, good enough. Yeah.
It is, yeah. It's rather than I have like a third proposal, which is why I think it's worth enrolling, which is do what like we don't have a profile on an unknown player, but like if you just like combine all of the players in the pool that you played against and think, what is the average player going to do, even though I've not played against them before, then you can just act on that decision instead. Like,
Right.
is the average player going to be more aggressive or more passive with check raises? I think they're going to be more passive. Therefore, against any unknown player, I'm going to fold.
Right.
And therefore, you don't have to use a randomizer or look at any like small sample.
Okay. So again, so you using that are going to fold this river 100% of the time.
Yeah,
without-
against an unknown player.
Against,
yeah. And,
again, unknownish players. Okay.
yeah, because 20 hands is unknown.
I completely
Yeah.
don't disagree with that. I think that is a fine strategy.
Yeah.
And that is the one I did.
I like it. Yeah, that's a very good fold to find.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will call that, to be honest. But when even though this guy has sevens in this case, against most people, that you definitely like just run into like jacks, I think.
Yeah.
It's just like you
And
hit the
queen
1%.
jack, and queen
yeah.
jack.
Yes, and queen jack. You just hit the 1%.
queen. Hide HUD. Stop showing me HUDs. You're annoying me. Okay. I think was that Fish Cake's hand? I think it was. Yes. Okay. That's what I think. So I'll go next. And this should fold to the small blind who should raise and take it. What goes wrong? Oh, he limps. Great. We see the flop.
Boom.
Oh my. He's going to check raise the turn. Check. I have this locked up. I can bet small. I can check. There's nothing I can do wrong here. I bet
Yeah,
small. I
agreed.
get called. Great. He checks. I can continue betting. I can put him on of the hands that continue. He can have tens here. And a 10 will call a larger bet. So I could bet 3 here. Even though I block the 10, I block the 6 so much harder than the 10. So that's what he probably has. So I go close to 3 and he raises. Oh, thank you.
Game spot.
Right. If I 3-bet him here, he cannot continue to bluff.
Yeah, always call.
But now but that's as far as he was going to go. And now I have to bet an amount that a 10 will call. The 10 is not calling that. All right. There we go. So there's our check. There's another check raise bluff on the turn. We are running into them, so we cannot go to the recency bias and all like that. I'm just saying we can't say that there are no check raise bluffs on the turn. Moving on. Larry.
All right, so sixes can open. King should 3-bet to like 13 or 12. You gotta get out of the way.
And I do.
Sixes mix here. You can set mine here. It's kind of a 0 E call. You can set mine at some frequency.
He's in position. Makes it better.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know how this can get to be a check raise. So, going 7, that small, like, let me see, between like 5 and 10.
I think that's half pot.
Okay, that's up. So when you're facing this bet on a rainbow board, which is you just can't be worried about connectivity. I mean, his 3-bet range does not include a straight draw here, except for maybe no, it doesn't. This is a really dream flop. You just call. No reason to raise.
They could have
Just over
nine,
the
could have
sides.
9-10 suited.
Yeah, maybe that's the only one.
That's the one. Yeah. Yeah.
Just call.
Yep.
Alright, you got it locked. And kings at this point should like the 8, because he only has one combo of 8s left. So I would polarize. I'm thinking about getting it in on kings. I mean, my SPR is like a 1.2, 1.3. So I would probably bet like a piece like around a 40.
Okay. Now you say that now the 8 is better for villain 72 than it is for villain 75. It's better for the pocket 6s than it is for the pocket kings. I don't mean the hands, I mean those people. Because,
Yeah, I think
because I raise some jacks against you, but I don't raise any 8s and I call all of them.
yeah,
the-
but you don't have any 8s. You really don't have that many 8s in your 3-bet calling range. You've got
No.
like ace 8. You don't have 8. You're not supposed to have anything. Maybe some 9-8. That's it.
9-8, 8-7, those are the ones.
That's it. Yeah. So you're not supposed to have any 8s.
Yeah.
And that reduces, except for, 8s.
Yeah.
But my point is that it reduces your 8s.
Yeah, I don't have quads here.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so here we go.
So, zone 75 should continue.
He checked.
All right, so. Villain 72 can do whatever he wants. His SPR is important. I'm curious what you guys would do here. I'm not gonna, I don't want to, I'm just curious, what size would you guys use? I don't wanna influence what you'd say.
I missed the start of this.
Well, 10 to 12. I would be betting really small to keep ace king
Yeah,
in,
I think that's right.
and then go on the river and then pick up the rest of it on the river because I can.
Yeah, fish cakes, we obviously turn the boat and
Was it
slow
a
call.
3-bet part?
we smooth called a small bet from king.
Yes, it was a 3-bet pot.
Okay.
So I think this is too big. I don't think you can use as big a size.
Yep.
I mean,
But-
you can if you're, but, okay, yeah, so.
But when that happens, you go, I picked the perfect size.
Yeah, exactly.
And my thought is that on the flop, target the weakest part of his range because he has checked here. So he's in his weak lobe.
Yeah,
Target the weakest part of his range because you're totally invulnerable to all of it. And then on the river, after getting that, don't bet small again on the river. On the river, target the strongest part of his range.
yeah,
And really just need to get the SPR to be 1-to-1 on the river. And if you bet 10 here,
that does it.
the board will be 70 and you will
have
have
80
70.
behind.
You'll have 80 behind into a pot of 70. That's fine. But he goes this big and it's great for him. And again, not a bluff by villain 75. So
I
That-
No, villain
I
75
actually
is,
think his check raise is actually probably pretty decent too.
yeah,
Kings should probably check raise. Can check raise there, right?
all right. Mike,
All right, what do we got here? We have a king 9 on the button. That's an open. And it should take it, but let's see. Who's calling? The 9-7 or the 5-3?
9-7.
Probably, but let's see. I'm not
Both.
okay. All right. So it should go check and then the king 9. This is so versus if this was like a true small blind type range, which I never give credit to villains like opponents in the small blind that flat call. I don't even the range between a big blind calling range and a small blind calling range is so different. I pretty much, especially if they're unknown, give them pretty much just a big blind range here. And unless they've shown to be like really good, like good players, I'm just kind of basically kind of giving them a big blind range here.
Yep.
Because it would make my strategy totally different. In this case, my king 9 here, I'm just going to see bet, just pretty much. Theory says to check sometimes just to see bet, and you could probably go on the larger side as well if you wanted to. You could probably do anything. So yeah, this is good. See that?
And what cues you, is the larger size because the board is 10 high?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
10 high in dynamics, so you can bet big. Okay.
Yeah, I think especially it's because it's 10 high with a straight draw to the 10. That's like one of the biggest reasons you'll see a big bet.
So we got called, and flush completer comes. We're going to be checking a lot in theory. We're going to be betting small when we do, rarely betting large. With this hand, do we want to continue aggression versus like the average pool player here? And I would say yes. I would say we could continue. And if we do, and this is an exploit, I would bet and continue aggression to like a B50, probably.
So with a flush completer, that's going to push us from sizing. We're not going to go bigger than B50 with a flush completer.
I don't think so. And we're going to check a lot as well.
And given that this hand could have continued with a jack, a queen, a king, and continued by checking with a 9, by getting there. I think I have enough cards that for this hand, maybe this would be a good give up. I'm seeing his 7-9 right now, so that makes it.
Yeah, this particular hand, I think
Okay.
I'm just kind of giving up kind of thing. Like I feel like there's just a lot more stuff we could, but like again, as an exploit, I would versus pool here, I'd probably just continue aggression and get a lot of folds.
Sure. I think this
But-
size was wrong. So I think this is a bad size.
I think 50% is like a nice sizing.
Yeah. I think anywhere from 33 to 50 is good. I think this is
You can also, with king, we are in position as well. We can play give up, and then if they check to us on the river, then we can have quite an inviting opportunity to bet because there'll be super caps compared to theory.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. But
There's your
it
raise
makes it
and then
easy on me. But that's the thing, is he makes it easy on me.
Yeah, it's nice.
I lost 2 big blinds too many on there. All right. But that's okay because I won $5 from Larry today. So that makes
You
up for it.
did.
Right. We go. Okay, that was Mike. So we're on to Richie. Richie 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hit the button that tells Richie to unmute. And if he doesn't, then we're going to go on to Bing. We're going on to Fish Cakes. It's you. Nope. Wait.
Sorry,
Richie's here.
I disappeared.
Okay, you're back. Yep.
Yeah, so Jack's open raise, open bet, sorry. And then it what? Why did
So you want what must have happened?
AFK?
I must have walked out of the room.
Yeah.
Well, you just
I was like,
had a
"Dude, there's an
really,
open
really
Jacks."
bad
I was
hand
like,
with
oh wait,
Jacks.
it's you.
Right. I didn't open jacks, and I'm glad we got to see this. There was one point in a session recently where something like this happened. It was either hitting the wrong button, and I went and I go, "Oh my god, if I have to show this, it was this one." But let's see if it was genius poker or not by the end. Go back to where
I can't deny I've obviously missed hands, multi-tabling, ace kings, etc. Like flip sake.
So the jacks fold.
Yeah. So the queen 9 should fold from here, right? Offsuit,
yeah.
but I'm guessing they're going to open. 4-9 should definitely fold, but I really don't know. An ace king should 3-bet.
Yep. And queen 9 should
Even.
fold.
Yeah, should 100% fold, but I guess that's not going to happen.
Play it. Because it's a drawing hand.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
You know, there was a hand on Poker After Dark with Sklansky where he had they're playing 6-handed. He's got ace king offsuit in the low jack. He limps it. It goes around, and I believe that the big blind raises or the button raises, and he folds. And it's just like, what? Where is this coming from? This is a long, I don't know where. And it wasn't like this. We're kind of, all right, here we go.
So this is unfortunate.
Yep.
So ace king, obviously, they just called. So I guess they're going to continue their passive action and chat.
Good.
And then queen 9 here should continue, get some money in the pot. So minimum a 3rd bet if they want to keep in weaker hands. They've gone for just under half, is it? And been
Yep.
called by the ace king, who doesn't want
And
to.
I think this is a good call from ace king here. I think he has to call once.
Yeah. To check again, they haven't gotten really any more equity. And queen nine obviously is going to continue betting now. So on the larger side, minimum 3/4. You know, they consider going bigger now because there's flush and straight draws on the river. But also they've got quite a strong hand that they want to. Well, a strong hand, but also a vulnerable hand, right? So it's a mixture of defensive betting as well as increasing pot size because you've got a hand where you're beating weaker two pairs.
And the
et cetera,
jack
et
10
cetera.
off, and the jack 10 offsuit that should have folded to this hijack open is overrepresented in our field. People
Okay.
call jack 10 off. They call all the jack 10 suited, of course, but they call jack 10 offsuit also, and that's there.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair point. I think 9 big blinds is the smallest, though, to go for.
That seems great. Yeah.
Ace king should fold, but he's probably not willing to give up their hand. This player type, I'm guessing.
Here's the bluff. These are out there. There's the bluff.
Oh yeah, of course. We're doing check raises. Me being
There are
silly.
more bluffs out there. There are more bluffs out there than we thought. They're not a lot of bluffs.
Yeah.
More of them than we thought.
I
Okay.
sometimes think this is like entitlement tilt.
Right.
Like, I've got ace king. I want to win this hand.
It should have been good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Queen 9 here, obviously, is a little bit concerned, but would just call.
Yep. And he lets him off the hook.
Yeah, and obviously you're only going to get called by better the straight. Well, most of the time by better the straights, right? Or someone who has trips. You might get called by the people who are drawing two straights and flushes. I think personally, you're losing more money this way than you are making money.
Yeah, this is exactly what we shouldn't do.
What's interesting is that if you have a flush draw, straight flush draw, you're supposed to call here.
Mhm.
With like 31%, you're getting 26.
Yeah. If you've got, what would it be? Jack 9 of spades, ace, jack 9, king jack. King jack's not straight flush draw. Anyway, there we go. Moving on. This is, from the queen 9 there. He just didn't let the guy bluff off the last of the money.
Yeah.
Okay. That was Richie, and we're now on to fish cakes.
Okay, let's open king queen.
Let's do that. Go away. Go away. It's making me do this each time, which is annoying. Oh, maybe can I turn the HUD off? No, I can't. Okay, here we go. King queen opens.
And ace jack against under the gun. It's close. I think maybe I'm not sure actually. Maybe you're probably just meant to fold this in theory, but it probably is fine in practice.
Yeah, it's gonna, let's see. So let's do the.
Yeah,
Do
I
the
think it's a
six-handed.
fold.
Right, let's do the 6-handed, and it was 2.5 open, right? 2.5 open,
It's a fold in theory, I think.
NL 100. So we're at, this was, who was it? It was
Under the
hijack?
gun, it was low jack.
Oh, it was low jack, yeah, low jack, this is too early.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, the ace
Right.
queen's coming in. Yep.
I don't think it would be like a big mistake if you did, maybe.
He pushes it.
Because you're not going to get 4-bet bluffed enough, but
Right.
Okay, weird size though.
Right. And that's the thing with my king queen. This is a hand that interests me, which is if he raises to the correct size, the king queen is going to fold.
Yeah.
What do I do, guys? This I was really unsure of this.
I think you can. It depends on what kind of player you think this guy is. 22 hands is not enough to look at PFR or anything.
No, that's the thing I disagree with you on. Is that people who you can't tell the difference between a 10 and a 25. You can't tell between a 15 and a 25 in 22 hands.
I just
Four-
trust the statistics.
Okay, all right, good enough.
Like if you run the maths, but
All right.
yeah, as for this hand, you're probably gonna get. To be fair, it depends on how aggressive they are, based off what kind of range they're raising with here. I think either are fine. Up to you. Depends on your mood, maybe. Like, are you playing well that day? Then call.
Yeah.
Are you playing badly? Fold.
Well, then there's this.
Or if you flop king, queen, 10, fold.
Yeah, you're gonna flop 2 pair. Whatever you do, if you flop 2 pair, fold.
Yeah. All right. Very interesting board. I think you play small size from the small blind.
He bets half pot.
Yeah, okay. And then king, queen. Don't think you're playing raise with king, queen here. I think you just call.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice though.
Oh, pink,
All right.
pink.
Okay, that's a nice little bink. And then ace jack. Oh, this is tough. I think you'd still definitely like bet here, but for what size, I am not sure. I think something around 50 to 60 seems
wanna
fine.
bet it-
So
You definitely want to bet a size that a queen can call,
yeah, I think 50 is fine.
because the queen is likely to call now with the king pairing, right? Because that reduces the number of kings that you have. Therefore, your opponent can call with his queen, but you want to make it easy for him. So I think over 50% would be bad.
Yeah, you also kind of have to be aware in his shoes, the small blinds, but because he's very small, does undergun have like a hand like king queen, or maybe even some people have king 10.
Yeah, suited.
So it's yeah, your ace jack is probably not as good as it would have been if you'd have raised bigger. I think because then these like offsuit combos or some of the suited
Yeah,
combos
that's a good point.
would not be in the range.
Yeah.
But yeah, still yeah, check or bet is fine. And then with king queen here, you definitely want to build the pot. As for a size, I think generally like about 50 with king queen. Again, similar reasons.
5-0 or 1-5.
What's that?
You say 50 or 50?
50,
5-0.
50%. Yeah,
Oh,
50.
50%. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we bet 50%, the pot will go up to 66 and we'll have 66 left. So if we want to go 2E, we need to go bigger than 50%, like we need to go about 60% to make it 2.
Yeah, but some of it's in.
Yeah. If we want to be sure that all the flush draws stay in, then we got to keep it close to.
I think if you bet 50%, the flush draws,
Yeah,
the flush draws will call still.
Yeah, 2E
I
is
go
Especially,
third. I'm really keeping flush draws in here.
okay. One other thing you have to consider, I think, is some of these flush draws will be flush draw plus like pair or better.
No, they won't. Yeah, pair or better, but I don't care about their pairs.
I mean like
you mean they'll pay me? You mean they'll pay me more? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think you'll get called, but yeah, you get called more from flush draw.
Okay. So all that makes some sense. However, here's one more argument for betting 12. That.
Yeah, your small bet definitely does get you raised more.
Yeah, so that's good.
Question is, do you probably not.
There's no reason to fast play in this.
Yeah, I think you just call. And
Yeah.
then hope he last time I think he's just gonna check to you.
Hope, no, he's probably not. No, he's got a straight. As long as it's not, as long as the flush doesn't come in, I'm okay.
don't-
I will
he's-
say,
He shouldn't jam it though.
can I amend what I said recently? There is an argument for fast playing because you want to get value from the flush draws if they are going to be.
Yes,
Yeah.
So there is a strategic tension here.
there is. But you'd really think that if that the flush draws bet out, the flush draws continue the bet, that the check raise is not what a flush draw does. It's just because the flush draw has opened itself up to having to pay more money, and it's paying more money.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
valid, especially on the stakes here.
Right. So maybe, so what flush draw? The ace queen of spades.
Ace jack of spades.
Yeah, well, that's already straight, so he's fine with that. Okay, there we go. So the nine, so that's a great card for me, because it doesn't bring in the, as long as it doesn't bring in a flush, because that's gonna get him to jam.
I don't know if you should jam with ace jack. Should you?
He's going to.
Yeah.
Hard not to. I think it's,
What do you expect? Okay, so as hero, what's the worst hand we're calling?
yeah, so your argument is
Ace-
that
ace
it's hard to
king?
get called by worse.
Ace king, king jack.
King
That's-
jack is an easy call, I think.
Ace, king, king,
Yeah.
jack. Yeah,
Ace king is a little harder.
maybe king nine, well, king nine's a vote now. Yeah, yeah, you've got a good point.
Hmm.
Got a good point. It's hard to know what's gonna call you. I mean, especially when you see that phrase, you have a good point.
That said though, turn was a small bet from hero, which like is going to trap hands like ace jack, or is going to make ace jack feel more comfortable to jam here. So yeah, the small size like chosen really like messed this guy up.
Okay, so, and
Nicely
it's
played hand.
28, and I played that hand, so why don't we make that the last hand?
That's a nicely played hand.
So I've really enjoyed these check raise sessions, by the way, guys. I've been
Okay.
incredibly informative. Some of the best we've done all year, I would argue.
And I was surprised by the number of bluffs we did see.
Yeah.
It's certainly not the
Yeah.
majority, I do not feel secure coming out of this session saying I'm gonna be folding, two pair.
You know what? They seem to be more like spew too, like not good check raises. Like when we saw the bluffs, they seem to be like really spewy.
Yeah, I think generally those will be from recreationals. You'll see the very speedy check raises, but if there's any way to filter for regs, then they'll definitely see more like equity driven check raises, I think.
Yeah.
Like flush draws and straight draws.
Yeah, the check raises were not very sensible based on their holdings. But there was one that was completely nonsense, the king 4, king 6, whatever it was, that made no sense on their holding, but you could see, but there
There's
was
a good narrative.
yeah, the story he told himself was a sensible story against population, just not against that particular player.
Yeah, I agree
That
there.
particular
Yeah. Nice session.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Scotty, you around tomorrow?
I am around tomorrow. We'll do the thing. We'll do whatever exercise you say.
Okay.
And if there's anybody out there who's on YouTube who's watching this, we don't care if you like and subscribe, but we love it when you comment.